Hey, what's up, everybody? Next week is our new metal episode, and the albums we have picked are Deftones' White Pony. Song to check out is Digital Bath. Next up is 9 Points to the Pain. The song to check out with that is Bullet with a Name. And our third album is Drain STH, Horror Wrestling. And Gobo, Mr. Off the Books here, says check out the song Simon Says, which apparently is not out of that album. So if you want to check that out. And thank you guys. We'll see you next week, and enjoy the episode. To a great start. I can say already that this is rough because I cannot read the comments. So I'm gonna have to switch over to my phone.
Orange Coke. Hello, fellas.
Orange vanilla Coke. Yeah, it's my go-to. Sorry.
That's a
Hi,
thing?
everybody. Welcome to Nothing's for No One. As you can see, Jason is not here. Now I have a special guest co-host, which is always fun to have.
What is that? Is that
It's the remote to this thing, so I can hear the delay.
Yeah. Hi.
I think we should be.
Hey, Bill. Hello. This is Aiden Alexander. If you know me in the world, you know I have an actual name, but I play drums in Something Is Waiting with Bill. And in numerous other projects that will come up as we discuss. But I'm here co-hosting with Bill today because Jason is
Dead
in arrears, so to speak. And
he is on vacation.
Bill made a lot of phone calls.
Must be nice.
This week. He asked a lot of people when he got down to the Z's in the yellow pages.
I'm not going to lie. You were 11th on the list.
Yeah. So, but that's what it's like when you're down to the wire and you're like your fingernails coming off your hand. You're gonna fall off the ledge. You're like, I know. I'm finally desperate enough to call Gabe. Is he available?
I know he's not doing shit on a Sunday, so I'll give him a call.
It's true.
You called in last week while we were doing this.
Yeah,
although albeit it was later, which I like it when we have guests that are like, can we do like early in the day? I'm like, absolutely. Jason hates it, but I love it. I'm like, if it were up to me, we'd do it 10 in the fucking morning.
Well, yeah, you had said that a few weeks ago at rehearsal because Eddie wanted to meet up. For some reason, he wanted to meet up early because I think he had to go to a brisk or something in the afternoon. What?
Go on.
And you had said that, and so I suggested 1 o'clock because it seems like a good hour, middle of the day. I didn't think this is early, but it feels like
it's early for me because, like I said, Jason always wants to do like 7 o'clock at night, which is brutal.
7 o'clock at night on a Sunday.
And it's like,
doesn't he have but he has a proper job. How does
and he
that
gets
work?
up early, and like that's what I don't get. And that kid loves his sleep too.
Yeah.
Like, you can see watching any of our episodes, he's usually yawning his fucking dick off every minute. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, why don't we do it earlier? And then he complains. He's like, well, I got shit to do. I was like, you don't have shit to do.
I mean,
You're
I
a
get
kid.
it. No, we were talking about this a few weeks ago.
He's a child. What does he do?
Well, that, yes. But, I'm under the impression that he does like grocery shopping.
Yeah, but does
some
that
such thing.
Like, what time is the grocery store open nowadays due to COVID? It's obviously a little bit different. But what, 8, 9? Maybe?
Yeah, 8, 9 o'clock.
So
depends what
that?
he's buying.
It's like a 13-hour window of grocery shopping that he's working with here.
I'm really glad we're moving off topic because I feel like you're going to get the two mid-30-somethings talking about their grocery list. You know what I love? Okra. It's great. Yeah. It's surprisingly versatile.
Really when you travel to the South, you got to get the fried okra. But yeah, no, I like it. Plus, we have like sunlight. Like this is awesome. We're not relying on just lights and shit. Like,
is there sunlight?
Yeah, we get a little bit of light. It looks better, like overall, which is nice. But
no, it's good. It feels nice.
I feel awake. You know,
I feel.
Granted, I mean, I'm chugging coffee, but like,
yeah,
even without the coffee, I feel a little more talkative.
Yeah, like firing on all cylinders, so to speak.
Because there's some days where it's like Sunday is like my kind of like personal time to do whatever the fuck I want. But lately it's been mixing and recording and just doing all shit like that or catching up on projects at the shop. So by the time we get here, I am fucking done, you know? Like, some days, but most days I'm pretty good.
Are you referring to like the popular thing that we were working on with Something Is Waiting?
Yeah, I mean, that was part of it. That wasn't that hard to do, to be honest, just because since we've been working on demos and stuff, I've kind of had templates built around just our band, obviously. Mm-hmm. And we didn't veer far off from like the demos that we've been working on. So a couple different changes here and there, but nothing major. So it was literally just dropping it. This had to be like a record, like how fast we did this. Like
how fast we did what?
How we tracked this song.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So yeah, for those of you that haven't checked it out, our label Learning Curve Records released a compilation album of all the bands that are, I don't know if it's all the bands on the label, but it's a vast majority of the bands on the label.
Yeah, there's I don't know how many bands are on the label, but I know there's like 15 bands that contributed tracks.
Yeah, it was awesome.
For this Quarantine Volume 2 thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we decided we were going to do a cover.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we
decided that.
Not the ringleader that is Gobo, but
I feel like we're the two guys in a band who no one knows who they are. Yeah. And like the main guy is making all the money. Like Billy Corgan is fine. He can go on Rogan's podcast and talk about buying a Ferrari in cash.
Nobody wants to talk to like James Yeehaw
and Jimmy Chamberlain. Right. We're like trying to get into the bar and they're like, sorry, gotta wait in line. It's like, hey like man, I'm the drummer. I just played the Palladium. It's like, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people's girlfriends are in there. It's like, okay, so we're doing this.
Yeah, right.
This is our side hustle to make like a few extra dollars because, you know, Squarespace is sending us a few $100s a week.
I wish that were the case.
You know?
But yeah, no. So right now it's on Bandcamp and it goes towards like a charity, which I'm forgetting right now what it is. Do you remember?
Oh, no, I don't concern myself with the
fair enough. The ins and outs of everything. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, we'd appreciate it. It's on Bandcamp. I believe it's under like Learning Curve, right?
I couldn't tell you what I would say. Yeah. I mean, Learning Curve, search or Something Is Waiting.
Check out our pages. Yeah. It's on there. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I think we spent more time talking about doing the cover than the time we spent tracking it and like mixing and mastering it, which is kind of funny.
And I know what everyone wants to know. What's the cover? Because we haven't said it yet. We covered should we say it?
Yeah, go ahead. It's out. So
it's out, like, so it doesn't matter.
We're not ruining a surprise.
Okay, yeah. We covered a Not a Surf song called Popular. And it's more of an homage to the song because Eddie took it upon himself to rework the lyrics.
Yeah, which was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun to listen to. Great stuff. A modern day poet. A poet for our time.
Yeah, I just remember like tracking the vocals and just laughing like so hard. It was difficult because it's like we can't ruin the take, so we gotta like rein it in. And then when it came to editing the vocals, I was still laughing. Like it's because I get to hear it like completely by itself again. It's so funny, but yeah, I don't know. We spent like a good while discussing covers and we were like, all right, let's do that. And we just kept pushing it off. We're like, we'll get to it. We weren't like practicing.
Yeah,
like,
not at all.
Like, we'll get to it. And then it was like the weekend, basically what, 2 weekends before it dropped.
Right.
We're like, all right, let's just hash it out in this practice for like an hour or two.
Yeah, we like, really did that.
Like
we just played the song.
Drilled it. Yeah. We're like, good enough. All right, we'll come back next weekend. I'll set up the mics and everything. And track the drums, and we did it. Yeah, and I even like messed up one of the drum tracks. I didn't record.
Oh yeah, one of the
specific mics. Yeah, mics it was the mic inside the kick drum, which I really like. The way that sounds a lot. For you nerds, it's one of those Beta 91As, which are really cool. Little pyramid looking guy, but Yeah, for whatever reason, it just slipped my mind because we were doing everything so like go, 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 you know, and it was a great take. So I didn't want to be like, hey, man, like we gotta do that over again if you want. And you were willing to do it.
Yeah,
but
it's not a big deal.
I was like, let me see what I can do. I can work some magic because I don't think we're trying to change the world. With this
it was a
thing,
really, really fun process, really quick. I think it was the idealized version of what recording should be, where you get in there, you know the song. There's a little bit of room to play, though, to let someone produce. Like, oh, why don't you change that drum fill? Why don't you add this thing? Or take a listen back. And myself as the drummer can say, oh, that fill isn't quite, it's starting too soon. Mm-hmm. Or there was one fill that I did where Eddie rightly pointed out it was too busy and it was taking away from the guitar transition.
Right.
Then having the wherewithal to say, oh, well, I'm doing too many, eighths and sixteenths. Let me just do some quarters here.
Right. Scale it back a little bit.
And just transpose them differently.
Well, we also had the happy accident of putting in, and I'm curious if I'm going to kind of ruin it, but I'm curious if anybody caught on that opening drum fill.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't say what it is yet.
Right.
But if anybody's heard it and wants to like chime in, take a guess what it is, it'd be really funny. But that was a good happy accident. We're like, do that.
Yeah, I played that.
To the 90s.
Yeah, I played that song for Gavin the next week. Mm-hmm. This is like 2 weeks ago for Gavin and George at a Lavisher rehearsal. And as soon as I played the fill, the fill played on the recording. He's like, oh, you did that from that.
Oh, he caught it right away.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I mean, he's like kind of a fucking chicken hawk.
Okay.
There's like, he's kind of like Eddie in that way where he'll hear the music like on a very wide breadth of subjects. They will miss everything. But when it comes to music,
they can hone in on it.
Whether it's the music that they write or the music that they love, they have this very discerning, sharp ear and eye, and it's just right away. Yeah. Very very fun.
I can't remember if I did the guitars like right after you did the drums, I think. Or maybe it was, I can't remember now.
I think you stayed because we did the drums. You had already done the guitars because I had a solid track to listen to.
That was a scratch track that I did real quick.
It was a pretty good fucking scratch track.
I'm not bad. It's not a hard song either, but it was funny because I still didn't learn the bass guitar part yet.
Been smoking a lot lately. Sorry, everyone. It's not COVID. I was
6 feet, man. Jason's freaking out because he's using his mic. I'm at the.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, no, he's probably not watching. He's probably doing something way cooler.
But I mean, when he hears the, well, anyway, please
he's not gonna listen to it.
Go back to. So you were saying I just.
Somebody liked your chicken hawk comment there.
I just wanted to mention that the coughing. It's not because of COVID. Not that I've been to the doctor because I don't believe I believe doctors, but I don't like going to doctors because I am Hispanic and Italian. And we are a very superstitious lot.
Just kill a chicken, you'll be fine.
Well, as long as I don't go to the doctor, I'll be fine. But as soon as I go to the doctor, they will say, this is what's going on. And it's like, because you put it there.
That's how they find
you
problems.
Fucking witch doctor.
Dude, you can't be talking like that right now. There's not many people that believe that.
No.
It's slippery right there.
Fucking morons.
But
if you don't believe doctors, you're a fucking idiot. So
unless you're a doctor, then it's like a double fucking idiot. But
sorry, go on.
No, go on.
So you wrote. So you were talking about tracking the guitars for the song.
I think I tracked them right after you did your drums.
I think so. Yeah.
It was like I said, I already had a template made up.
Yeah, you
kind of
did.
Like our sound, so I just dropped it right in.
Yeah.
It sounds great, like initially, and then it was just a matter of tweaking later. But and then I did the guitars real quick. It wasn't that hard, and it's all Kemper, which is great. That thing sounds awesome. There's no reason for me to. And it's one song. It's not like I need to mic up and do all this.
There's no
I don't want to get carried away. Keep it simple.
Right.
And just move it along. And
I mean, that's the whole song. The whole song. I think what makes that song so catchy in a sense, or why it struck a nerve with people when it first came out, and why we've enjoyed it so much, is because the guitars and the drums are very. I hate to say bare bones, because it gives the impression that so it's easy. And it's not easy to play something like that. Exactly. And, like in drums, there's this idea of here comes the next part, put in a crash cymbal or, do a drum fill. And in that song, even though I didn't play it exactly like the original player, I kept that going. In the original, there's like very little crash cymbal usage, very few fills. It's very like do ba do ba, and the guitars same thing. And I think
riffs.
It's amazing. And tried to keep that up with the drums. Obviously, that's what you did with the guitars. And even though Eddie went like he did his thing and he did his like dirty old man poet laureate thing. For those of you who actually read poetry, you'll know who I'm referencing. It gets a little broad, it gets a little loud, but it's a really lovely thing. Yeah, you did record it right after. I'm tapping the fucking table too much. No, sorry. You did record it after, because I remember after that rehearsal or recording, I went to my friend Renda's place. Because she lives in a high rise and they have this big fucking courtyard. And since she's terrified of the pandemic, that's where we were hanging out and just drinking and smoking. And then later on in the evening, you sent.
So I did. Yeah.
So that evening, I was like, oh, fuck, it came out. And this is what I'm like. This is like 6 hours later. I haven't eaten anything all day. I've just been smoking and drinking.
We even did vocals too. That's right. We did everything in one day.
Yeah. I think
we did everything in less than probably 5 hours, I'd say.
I couldn't tell you. I think we did drums for about 2 hours.
Yeah, vocals for maybe an hour and change.
Well, let's remember how long these vocals took when it comes time to actually do our fucking record.
Yeah, right. I don't know if it's gonna move that fast.
It's like been a big topic.
Clearly, he has the ability to do it quickly, but will he? That's the question.
I know your regular listeners.
Just know that he's on next week's episode, so he'll have a chance to.
I don't have time to address No, but what I mean is like your usual listeners are so used to certain kind of like flavor of nothings for no one, and this first, I would say, 20 minutes has been like rhythm section complaints about lead singer.
Yeah, I think there's more people on our side than anything. Like there's a lot of people that can like commiserate with that.
I'm a little embarrassed. You think they talk about us this much? They don't.
No,
they don't care.
We're not on their radar.
We're not on their fucking radar.
They have cooler shit to do.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I forgot to share this on my personal page.
That's all right.
Don't mean to be pulling a Jason on you. Ooh, shots fired.
Shots fired. You said he's in Wisconsin or some such thing, right?
I don't know if it's Wisconsin.
Whatever. He's on vacation.
Illinois, yeah, so his guitar player from Warforged, Jace, has like a summer home.
Oh.
Well, his family has one.
Right, right.
So yeah, they just went there.
That Warforged money isn't coming in at a high enough click to buy the second home.
Not yet. Almost. Next album.
We're recording this one in the Alps.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure.
They should just record at that house, kind of like what Incubus did like years ago with that one album.
Did they? Yeah, I mean, that's fun. Like, go get away.
I think Morning View, if that's the album. I don't know. I feel bad because I do like Incubus, but I just can't think of it right now. Somebody's probably going to yell at us, but
I only know I'm familiar with one Incubus song.
Science?
No, the one that's their gigantic hit. So here's the background.
Go on.
So when I was about 13 or so, I went to Japan for the first time with my family, and it was glorious. Very fun, a bit of a culture shock, but really cool. So anyway, we're leaving or traveling somewhere within the country. And no, I was about 16 because at this time I was playing shows. And I saw this tall drink of water, young guy, but tall and really skinny, in the airport in Japan. And I was like, oh, white dude who looks like kind of a rocker. Let me go talk to him because I play drums in a thrash prog instrumental band in Chicago. So maybe I've seen him at the Fireside Bowl or something. So I go up to the guy and I start like, hey man, what's up? You look like you play music. Do you ever play in Chicago or some such thing? Like I'm 16 talking to what I imagine was like a 24 to 27 year old at the time. And it turns out I was talking to Brandon Boyd.
No shit. What the fuck? That's awesome.
So I was like, oh, hey, man, my name's, what's up? What do you do? You know, what's your name or something? He's like, oh, hey, man, my name's Brandon. I was like, cool, man, my name's Gabe. What are you doing in Japan? He's like, oh, my band just played a show. I was like, oh, what's your band? It's like Incubus. I'm like, oh, dude, man, I love that song, that Burn song. It's fucking awesome. And the song I was referencing was Pardon Me.
Okay, yeah.
Because that song was huge at the time. And at the time, there was this Chicago or this surrounding suburbs band called Sudden Dark that my high school band would play with all the time. And they were an awesome band, great vocalist, great drummer. And I'm embarrassed because the song of theirs I remember the most is a cover that they did of that song, but they did it so fucking well. Like the vocalist had the same kind of range and the drummer was just as diverse and versatile. And, you know, when you're 16 years old and you're hearing a guy who's like maybe 17, 18 playing that kind of spastic, but very controlled, focused drumming, it's like nothing else. So anyway, you know, I'm in this talking to Brandon Boyd and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm just here with my family, man. And just talking for a couple of minutes. And then, you know, he fucked off and so did I. But it was just,
so funny.
Because you brought up Incubus. Just thought I'd share that little...
A good little anecdote. And yeah, I've never heard that story. That's so funny.
Yeah.
And it was just him by himself?
It was just him by himself. I don't know where the rest of the band was. It was just a strange thing. Like you just see some tall dude who's...
You never know. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, this guy's a musician clearly because his hair is shaggy.
Right. He looks
like
the part.
Yeah. And I'm like, I was all of 16, 17 years old at most. And to kind of make this hard left, that's the kind of thing I like about the rock music scene in general. Even though I wouldn't say like Incubus is like this heavy, hard rocking band.
Nah,
but something
recognized
about...
by rock.
But I mean, the thing that you can just go up to a musician and bullshit for a few minutes. And it doesn't have to be weird. Yeah. Well, I mean, I know you've got stories.
I've got plenty of stories of like it going south or seeing people
at their worst.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember, do you remember the band American Head Charge at all?
Yeah, I think I played a show with American Head Charge when I was a kid.
We saw them once at the House of Blues long time ago when they were in that first album. And the original guitar player at the time, which was like this tall dude with a mohawk, I remember we randomly ran into him at the parking structure that we were parked in.
Like your band or you were working?
No, it was just me and my buddy and his older brother that went. And naturally, like, we went up to him to say, like, hey, man, like, we really enjoyed the show and we had a blast. And he just shrugged us off like we were assholes. Granted, he was with a chick, so I totally get it. But we weren't about to, like, hey, man, let's talk all about... He just wanted to be like, hey, man, like, we really liked the show and you guys killed it. And he just was, like, really dismissive about it. And I was like, all right, well, fuck that guy. Fuck this band. I'm out. You know, like...
That's kind of ridiculous.
Like, real bummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, I get it, man. I've seen that before where... I see it all the time where dudes with a chick and it's just like, I don't want to fucking talk to fans. I want to hang out with this chick. Like, I get it, you know, but it's like, just give it a minute. And then if they don't fuck off, then go ahead, turn on the like fuck off mode, you know, like some of those dudes, like the craziest one I've told the story before was Phil from All That Remains.
That's a band I know that name, but
for some reason he gets a bit of a bad rap. Mainly because I think he's like a big gun guy, so like that kind of crowd doesn't really tend to like him. And I've heard stories about him being pretty mean to people, like, you know, when you meet him or whatever. But this wasn't the case. We were on tour and I saw him. We were in Colorado. He's walking back with some chick. Maybe it was, I can't remember if he's married or not, or if it was, I don't know who it was, but it was a chick that was clearly like with him. And he was like walking towards the bus and some dude that was talking to security stopped him, who was like a fan, like a super fan. Like, hey, Phil, like, do you have a second to like sign something? And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, just give me a minute. He's like, I just got to get her on the bus and then I'll be right back out. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, because I've heard stories like, he ain't coming back out.
Yeah.
Like, he's just going to go in and just never come out, which I've seen plenty of dudes do that because there's nothing you can do once the dude's on the bus. Because if you go knocking on that door, you're either going to get the shit kicked out of you or just thrown away. You know, like, don't do it. And fucking lo and behold, he walked back out on the bus by himself, came over, and started signing stuff. And the guy all of a sudden did the thing that's like, oh, it's so like, I imagine most people in that situation would dread, but he brings out like a stack of posters. And he's like, do you mind like signing these? And Phil fucking signed them all.
Wow.
And it was super nice and was like, yeah, I remember this show and this show. And he's like, that's so cool. You have all super fucking nice. And then he did everything for the guy. And then he's like, all right, man, I got to get back to it. And he's like, yeah, totally fine. And went right back to the bus.
I mean, that's part of it. If you want to be successful in that arena where, so to speak,
right.
I think you have to be a bit of a people pleaser.
Yeah, you got to be humble about it.
Or just know that that's part of the game.
Smooth with people and stuff like that, schmooze. For sure.
I mean, there's a lot of industries where that's part and parcel of what it takes to be successful. I mean, it's nice to hear that.
It's also difficult too, because it's like you kind of have to be on point
all the time. Yeah. Well, that's where
even at your worst, you got to be on point. That's what sucks.
Well, that's like those podcasts. Like I used to listen to the Nerdist a lot, or whatever. All these different podcasts where they have, and those guys like Chris Hardwick would always talk about. You got to understand, like these, like you just have to imagine sometimes, like maybe that was just a bad day for him. Maybe his cat just died.
Yeah, who knows?
Oh, whatever. Well, I feel like I don't know why I'm defending fucking celebrity.
You don't need to.
Like, who fucking cares? Like I give a fuck.
One of my other favorite moments was, do you remember the band Systematic at all?
No.
They were cool. Their first album is like one of my favorites. I still listen to it. It's awesome. It's very good alternative rock. Like the vocalist is phenomenal. The guitar player went on to become like an engineer for stuff. Adam Ruppel, I believe is his name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's done really well. And I just remember we had seen them a few times. Like they always would play with a lot of bands that we liked at the time.
Yeah.
And we were at Ozfest, and we happened to see the singer. And my buddy had the program or whatever. And so basically, it was great because like you just walk around Ozfest, you're gonna run into like these musicians.
Yeah.
And so he was just having them sign their page and stuff like that. It was great.
That's awesome.
He goes up to the singer and the singer's like with a chick. It's always with a chick, right?
Yeah.
And he just stopped him for a second. He's like, hey man, you mind? Like, can I get your autograph? And the guy was like, yeah, absolutely. And it was like, he was as cordial as he could be, but you could tell there was something like not quite like he wasn't too happy about it. And he's like, yeah, for sure. Like looking at my buddy talking to him. He's like, yeah. He's like, all right, man, have a good one. Walks away. We go back like a month later. We're looking through it. He just wrote "fuck off" on there.
Jesus Christ!
We're laughing so hard. We didn't even realize it until way later that he was like "fuck off."
That's funny.
He looked him dead in the eye as he wrote it too, which is great.
Jesus fuck. Whatever. That shit.
I don't know. When I have those situations, I try to be as quick as possible because I always figure they got to be going somewhere.
I don't think I've ever really been starstruck by running into someone who was a celebrity or some such thing, or even a musician. I guess I've never really met any musician where I was like, oh, fuck, I'm talking to so... Like, I really like the band Lamb of God a great deal. Not as much as I used to, but it's just because I'm 37, not 25 listening to it. So my tastes have changed, but I still, if someone puts on, Ashes of the Wake, I'm like, yeah, this is great. Ruin. This is fucking great, So there's another like old school story of being like 18, same like Psycho Scapegoat, prog thrash instrumental band. And we got a chance to, by some like miracle of God, we got to open for Lamb of God.
That's awesome.
At the Old Bottom Lounge.
And how old were you guys?
I was like 18. At best, so cool. I was 18. At best. And it was us, a band called End Forsaken, who had a record, and like they had a very brief moment.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Dead to Fall.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Lamb of God.
Sense, yeah.
And like,
just Lamb of God was touring, or was Dead to Fall?
No, it was just Lamb of God. They like parked their giant fucking tour bus in front of the Bottom Lounge.
Oh, they were on a bus even then.
Yeah. Okay. It was like the second album. It was the album Ruin, because the first one was I believe called New American Gospel.
Well, that was under the old moniker.
No. That was Lamb of God. But anyway, they I got to play on Chris Adler's drum set for a hot minute. He like invited us drummers up to see his drum set. He was like, because we were all geeking out a little, like not like crazy, but just like, oh, hey man, this is so cool. And we were like, I think one of us asked like, how do you do that fill in whatever it is, like Ruin? I think the song is called Ruin. I can't. And he's like, oh, you mean this? And he does it. But he wasn't doing it to like show. He was just doing it like, oh, you mean this? It's like, yeah, man, that's amazing. How did you do that? And he's like, well, actually, and he did the thing like
Explained
like
it.
all drummers. He's actually a fucking nerd. Like
Oh,
we
he
all
is
are.
huge. Yeah, he's a huge nerd.
So
about
we're
it.
all like, you know, so it's like perfect for us. And he's like, well, actually, you know, it's just two fills. Like what I'm doing here is first I'm doing this over here. And then if you learn how to do this over here, and then you just
can do
connect them
that.
and that's all it is. And
That's awesome.
yeah, but again, it was one of those things where like, I wasn't a super, super crazy fan. I think
No,
I just
but it's
don't
so
have,
cool to
I don't
see
know if I
guys like
have that. I'd like to think that if I met like Ozzy one day, I wouldn't be like pissing my pants like an asshole.
Right. I don't think you'd be like that. I think you'd be pretty comical.
I think I'm maybe if I was like 18, maybe, but even
Right.
then I was too filled with like resentment at like what
To
why
be
isn't it
happy,
me?
right? Yeah,
Why
yeah.
can't I have like I'd be like, "Hey man, that's cool. Awesome." You know? Like I don't whatever. It's just
I've met a few celebrities and musicians in my day, and I always try to, like I said, I try to keep it quick and real nice, and because I figure like you gotta remember like their day didn't consist of them going like, I really hope I run into Bill today. You know, it's not like that. Like,
well, yeah,
it's like I ran into Sarah Silverman once.
Awesome.
On the way to the metro, we were walking.
Oh,
and
I think
she popped out of like this bar restaurant, and we're looking. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Sarah Silverman over there. And our buddy was like, excuse me, are you Sarah Silverman? She's like, yes. Like, that's awesome. You rule. Like, good seeing you. She's like, thank you guys. Like, appreciate it. Made some joke about being Jewish and then went on our separate way. It was the end of that. There was no reason to hound her. And then another time I ran into Thomas Lennon from Reno 911.
Oh yeah,
in
you don't have to qualify.
And
that I know. Okay. When you bring up like a band like All That Remains, you've heard of All
Right.
That Remains, like, sure.
Right.
But like if you say Thomas Lennon, I'm like, okay, I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah, just randomly. He was walking down the street in Oak Park, and I just was like, oh, hey, man, like, what's going on? Like, love the stuff you do, and, you know, yada, yada, yada. It was real quick, and I was like, all right, man, have a good one. And, you know, and my buddy was like, who the fuck was that? I was like, Thomas Lennon. He goes, wait a minute. He goes, is that Lieutenant Dangle? I was like, yeah. He goes, what the fuck, dude? He goes, why didn't you say something? I would have taken a photo with him. I was like, oh, I don't know. I just didn't. He looked like he was kind of in a hurry to begin with. I didn't want to like hold him up.
Yeah.
He's like, God damn it. He's like, I didn't realize it.
Well, that's also a
He's
Midwestern
like, you talked to him
thing.
like he was so like, it was like a friend of yours. I was like, well, I'm not going to be mean to him. I'm a fan of his
Hey,
work.
cockshaft.
Yeah. Like,
Let me get a fucking picture with you. Oh, Mr. Hollywood here doesn't have fucking time.
Like, so good. It was so funny. And then we, I think before that, because yeah, his folks still live in like Oak Park, so he frequents a lot. Like he's on the bars on Madison Street every once in a while, and we were out one time.
Wait, he lives in this neighborhood or some such thing?
No, he lives in I think California, but his folks still live here, so he pops in a lot. So usually you'll run into him around like Thanksgiving or Christmas because he'll be back to visit his family. And there was one time around Halloween. We're at the bar and my buddy was like, yo, dude, he's like, I ran into Lieutenant Dangle. And I was like, oh, like some guy like dressed like him, right? He's like, no, really him. I was like, bullshit. And he's like, look, and he like pulled his phone out. He's like, and it was a photo with him. I was like, oh, what the fuck? I was like, where is he? He goes, he already went to the next bar. I was like, God damn it. I was like, all right, that's fine.
That's cute.
But then I ran into him like a year or two later after that, which was funny.
I love the tenor of the podcast right now. Two guys, again, like late 30s, calmly talking about like just experiences they've had.
Right.
Nothing like too out of the ordinary. Like, yeah, I'm using a new dish detergent. I've been using Dawn for years.
Domestic talk. Right?
Like real fucking boring.
We could talk about I bought a new Roomba finally. But
Jesus
I love
Christ.
this. Spencer just said, you are our most famous guest yet. He is correct. Then Brandon
By
here was
proxy. By proxy out there, people.
Brandon here was talking about he knows Systematic was Edema. Do you remember that band?
Yeah, definitely.
The nephew of Jonathan Davis.
Yeah.
Stereo Mud, which I believe is still going. Right?
I don't know who that is.
Drowning Pool. I'm curious, was that Drowning Pool show, was that with Ryan McCombs, The Soil, or was it with one of the other singers? That was in 2002 at Aragon. I can't remember what era that is.
I haven't.
And Disturbed. That's funny.
That was a single show?
Halloween show. Nice.
Jesus.
That is a pretty stacked fucking show. Systematic edema, stereo mud, drowning pool, and disturbed at Aragon.
Oh, Stereo Mud. I do remember seeing
2002.
that name.
Yeah, that wasn't a band I ever checked out, but I do remember that name.
That era of like 2002 was the time when I was just living at the Metro. I would just go there every weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, we were pretty fucking young in those days.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you just go to any show. Like
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
you just go.
Yeah.
Not even knowing. You're like,
Yeah.
I know it's Friday. Like, there's got to be something good. You know?
Yeah, I would do that at
It'd be hard
Fireside.
to-
I would just,
Very few misses those days, you know?
well, yeah, I was just so ready to listen to fucking anything. And I just wanted to go out and be out and just get a taste of independence or life or some such thing. I
Right,
mean, I
just
grew
not
up in the
to-
fucking city. Thank Christ I didn't grow up in fucking Glen Ellen or something.
One of those deep burbs? Yeah.
Or whatever.
You'd be a
Like
different person,
fucking
man.
Skokie or something.
Oof,
like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've been atrocious. Thank God I was like in the city. So I would just, I'm here. I'll go to this. I'll go to the fucking Metro. I'll just ride around on my bicycle or
That's awesome.
whatever the fuck, you know?
You're like one of like 3 people I know that grew up in the city.
Yeah.
Like legitimately grew up in the city. Like so many transplants. Like,
I mean, it's fine, you know?
right?
Fine. It's fucking people.
Do what you gotta do.
It's nice, you know? Welcome to the city.
Riding your fixed gear, right?
I mean, I've got a fixed gear too, but I mean, I don't have a Chicago flag tattooed to my fucking
Not yet.
forearm. What's going on?
Spence has got to go. See you, man.
Oh, he's got to
Thanks for
go.
chiming in.
Where
Yeah.
did-
He's had enough of your fame. Too much.
You know, I once won an award for being the mentor of the year at my old law school.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't for sleeping with the students either.
Okay. What year was that?
This was like a few years ago.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to mentor first year law students.
No shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was the best. They'd always like, and now they don't fucking return. They like the school
The
doesn't like,
disowned you.
no, the school doesn't send me anyone anymore. I have no idea why.
Really?
I'm so annoyed too. I think it's utter horseshit.
I don't know. Maybe the programming lost funding or something.
No, I'll get into
More
my little suspicions
Where'd
later.
Where'd you go to law school?
NIU.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, they gave me some money, and they're like, if you keep your grades up, we'll keep giving you money. And I didn't keep my grades up, but I stayed. I tried. It's
Couldn't
really
get rid
hard.
of you, huh?
Yeah,
I
like-
can't imagine. Yeah, it's got to be.
I mean,
pretty
it's really
difficult.
fun, really interesting. You know, you read about a lot of stuff. It gives you a lot of perspective
I'm
because
sure.
even though there's a lot of villains in the law, like people who I think are just atrocious, you also have a great respect for how fucking brilliant they are. But
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, good or bad, you got to be pretty smart to get to a certain level.
I suppose so. Well, now it's fun, like when people are like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is my favorite Supreme Court justice, and she better be yours too. It's like, I'm more of a Frank Murphy guy, Felix Frankfurter, and they're like, who's that? It's like,
Yeah.
New Deal era Supreme Court justices, you fucking hipster trash. You know what I
This is
mean?
the part of the show I like.
What? Get angry at young
Yes,
people?
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, but
the closest I ever got to law school is I worked in John Marshall Law School.
oh, really?
Yeah. I did the like the mock court that they have inside there.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and then a bunch of other woodworking throughout that building, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been in that building a handful of times. I got accepted there, but I didn't go because someone I worked with had gone there.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, if this fucking guy went there, I don't want to go
You
there.
don't want to go there. Do you
Plus-
know anybody else that went there?
Yeah. A
no,
friend
cool.
of mine who's a brilliant public defender, PD, she went there, and she's brilliant,
Oh,
really
cool.
hard worker, really excellent advocate. And she went there. It's the kind of, a lot of law schools are just they are what you make of them.
Okay.
You know, like they may not have a good name, but if you work and if you have something special about yourself, you can, it's just like, here it is, do something with it, you know? And if you choose to use the axe as a blunt instrument, that's all it'll be, but you could use it to build or to destroy. It has multiple uses. And, oh my God, these poor fucking first year law students, they're like, where should we meet you? Should we I'll like invite them to the Continental at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Like, you can
Usual
meet me
haunt.
on Saturday.
Bring smokes.
Bring smokes. They're like asking me questions like, how do you do well? How do you get good grades? It's like, listen, I can't help you with any of that.
That's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, like, let me tell you something. Let me learn you something, 1L. Like, law school is going to take away a lot of shit from you. So you better be ready to lose a lot of shit and pick one thing to hold on to and fucking hold on to it. It's all very like, you know that girl? You love her, right? She's leaving you. It's like the beginning of Jarhead. You got a girlfriend, Jarhead? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wrong again. Fucko. Jody's fucking her right now. You know? Mostly a chance for me to bring up Jarhead.
Yeah.
the book and the film, both of which are highly entertaining.
Who wrote the book?
The guy's name is Swafford. I can't remember his first name, but he wrote it. It's autobiographical.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's based on him. Yeah,
it's it was really good. Really, I mean, I was about to say powerful, but I have a reticence to use those kind of descriptors because everything is amazing. Everything's outstanding. This is everything. I fucking can't stand. So-and-so destroys so-and-so. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, could we just show a little bit more care about the words we use? Just a little bit.
You watch, like, Louis C.K.'s, what is that, Hilarious? I think he talks about that.
No.
He's like, we use these big words on the dumbest fucking things. He's like, what are you going to do when you have a child? And you're like, look at this. This is amazing. He's like, you just called a bucket of chicken wings amazing. He's like, you can't do that. You can't just use those big words all the time.
Yeah,
you gotta
exactly.
Save them. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I thoroughly agree with that too.
Yeah.
Like I like it in like a sarcastic sense, but to use it to be like, yeah, like a bucket of fucking chicken wings.
Well, just all of that.
This is mind-blowingly amazing. It's like, is it?
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Amazeballs.
Like they're good. They're good, all right?
So intense.
Yeah.
Machine Gun Kelly at the Music Awards is everything. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know what? This is the kind of shit that actually does fucking piss me off. Because
Here we go.
I work. So for all of you Judases out there who don't know, I'm a fucking immigration lawyer when I'm not playing drums and yucking it up. And so I actually deal with horrifying bullshit where it's like, I'm helping battered women get their status. I'm helping dads who are illegal as shit get green cards so their kids don't have to grow up without fucking parents. I'm helping abandoned kids who travel from fucking Honduras by themselves get into the United States, get a special visa, and then get a fucking green card. So when I see these fucking people, all these fucking sycophants and these fucking lemmings and these people who've never been hungry once in their fucking life. And they're like, oh, fucking Beyonce, Black Queen, and all this fucking horse shit. It drives me fucking crazy because it's like, what kind of fucking sacrifice did she make? Oh, I'm sorry. She danced a lot when she was a teenager. Big fucking deal. And then the audacity to call her a fucking artist. She's a fucking performer. There is a difference. An artist is someone like fucking El Greco or fucking Cindy Sherman. Look her up. She's a photographer, you Philistines. But then like someone like fucking Beyonce with like 25 fucking producers, they can't even get them up for the Grammys. My point being, the amount of bullshit on fucking TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, like showing a picture of like, that's so fucking brave. We lost our king. We lost our queen. This is everything. Fucking asshole who's never had to fight for anything wears makeup. Let's worship them. Like, no fucking thank you. Get the fuck out of here. Jesus fucking cock-rockin' Christ.
This is the point where it just goes beep. We just cut off the live stream.
It's just
We'll be back.
We'll be right back.
Technical difficulties. Sorry. Fuck. I wish I was better prepared that because we did do a live stream for our 100th episode, and it was a little more.
This is a live stream, isn't it?
No, but I had it better produced where like we were on multiple formats and stuff like that, and I could control what was going in and out. Like there's like a 5 to 10 second delay. So if something like that would happen, I could have like technical difficulties.
Wait, you
like
don't
just
want-
for no,
No,
just for
just
like the
like
fun
me.
of it. Just to make it funny. Yeah. I wish we could do that.
It's like the SNL
It's
skit.
like 20 of those in this episode.
It's like that SNL skit from the mid-90s with Will Ferrell on a guest star, Horatio Sands. Cameron Diaz was the guest, and Tim Meadows played the straight man, where it was like, you, Umberto, C.
Yes, the letters.
Yeah.
He's like dancing over and like, no! That is a great bit, yeah. I think they do cut the
Yeah,
right?
they do,
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 times. So talking about that, like a 25-year-old skit on SNL reminds me of a very brief story of when I was first confronted with, not that I've ever been hip, but where it was really like, you are the old guy here. Get the fuck out of here. I was 27 years old. Not that old.
Right.
I was in law school. Get ready. There's going to be a lot of those. There's going to be a lot of those, like I was in law school or so on and so forth. And I go to this fucking party in my neighborhood because, you know, I've been living and working in Chicago for fucking years. You know, going out to the bars, getting shit hammered, riding my bicycle drunk, whatever. Staying up till 4, 5, 6 in the morning.
Doing the thing.
Yeah, doing the thing. So I get to DeKalb. There's none of that. You know, bars close at 2. It's atrocious. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do for the rest of the night?
Right.
Like, sleep?
I just got warmed up. What are we doing here?
Get the fuck out of here. So I go to some fucking undergrad party because, you know, I'm Hispanic and Italian, otherwise known as a creep. So I'm like, oh, cool, undergrad party, sweet. You know?
What's going on here?
What's going on
how's
here?
the talent here?
Yeah. What's our boy Sinbad called? Sniz?
Yeah, what's the sniz situation here? Adam usually watches. I wonder if he's on.
Hunting for sniz. I like to call it slash. So I'm at this party, and I guess it's like a normal thing. I'm just drinking, like someone I know is there, so that's how I get the intro.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, something happens, and I'm like, well, you know, you better watch out, or you'll be living in a van down by a river.
Classic line. Oops.
What? That's okay. We don't need to. It's not necessary.
Go on.
So I say the line. It's a Chris Farley line. It's a great bit. Motivational.
Should know it for the most
Everyone
part.
should know it. How could you not? No one got it. No one knew what I was referencing at all.
What year was that?
This was 10 years ago.
Okay. Maybe I guess if it's younger kids, they might.
It was just shocking to me. Like, how do you not know who Chris fucking Farley is? You know what I mean?
That dude came and went really fast, you know?
But I mean, he's shown so fucking brightly. I mean, who are these people not saying, hey, Jimbo, let's watch Tommy Boy? Even though, or, you know, when
Everybody should watch that.
Or where's that curiosity?
I just watched Almost Heroes the other day, which is like one of my favorite Chris Farley movies.
Never seen it.
Really? It's the last one made that he did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like 5 months before he had passed.
Oh, fuck.
And they released it like almost a year later or something like that. Like, I think it was something legality issues where they weren't going to let it go right away.
Oh, sure. Yeah, maybe just bury it.
It's a great movie. It's so funny. Like it's filled with a lot of good like a lot of great Chris Farley moments. Like that just I sent my buddy a Snapchat the other day. Like there's a scene where he's like he's like this huntsman. He's like very gruff, obviously like disgusting gentleman as he tends to play.
Yeah.
And he gets invited to this very aristocratic party where everybody's well done, dressed up and everything, and they're all very cordial, and he's very crass and like trying to like hang out. And the guy walks over and he's like, would you like to try some of this whiskey? I think it's whiskey or something, or brandy or whatever. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I tend to go a little hard and it get bad. And the guy's like, I'm not talking about getting blind drunk, He's I'm just talking about a taste. And he's like, all right, just a taste. So he like takes a little bit back. And he's like, grabs the whole bottle, and starts chugging it.
Lay off me.
Yeah, just like it's a great moment. I love it every time.
Let's put a pin in the Snapchat part of that story. I'm sorry. Do you have Snapchat? I feel like you're burying the lead, Bill.
But go on.
Well, so let me say. So
is this party packed too?
There was enough people there.
Okay.
It was. I honestly don't remember because it was like 10 fucking years ago. My point being, it was astounding to me. How do you not know who Chris fucking Farley is?
I guess the 10 years is long enough for people to.
I don't know
that boat.
But like,
nobody has like an older brother or sister. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, I didn't really have an older. I don't have an older
but you
brother.
grew up in that era, though. But I'm saying, like these kids.
I went back and was like, "Who the fuck is Steve Martin? What's this all about?"
Oh yeah,
then like I have seen a few of his bits, and then he released a book called "Born Standing Up." I'm like, well, what's that about?
Mm-hmm.
You know. What I'm trying to do is shoehorn in a rant about people lacking curiosity these days. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find my way there.
You have a younger sister. Do you ever show her any like old comedies and stuff that you like
definitely.
grew up with? Yeah.
I mean,
so she's cultured then.
Not
That's good.
So what I'll do is I'll recommend books. I'll say like, so it's always so she's in college now. She's a junior at in Michigan, the university in Ann Arbor. And, when she got there, she's like all of 18. I'm like, listen, guys are terrible. They are garbage. And I know this because I'm a man and I'm garbage. So all men are garbage.
Fair enough.
Even the best one you find is made of garbage. Like, it just is. It is what it is.
It's just the way it is right now.
Yeah, period. So I would give her little advice is like, hey, I want you to read this book by Bukowski, not because I want you to be impressed by all the drinking and fucking and disgusting bullshit, but because there's a mefluidity and rhythm to his words. That's really captivating. It's why I've read like 6 or 7 of his fucking books. It's not because I need to read about some dirty old man fucking some dirtier old woman, or like I was drinking brandy wine. Like, I don't give a shit. I do plenty of that kind of disgusting, virulent stuff too. But there's like that cadence, man, it's very beat. So I was like, hey, little sister, I want you to read this because one day you're going to be at a party and a guy who's like 1 to 2 years older than you is going to talk about Bukowski to impress you.
Right.
And because you've never read him, you may be impressed by it. So read this. Because this is like
ahead of the curve a little.
This is like level 1 of someone hitting on you. Like, you can't just be like, have you read Bukowski? It's like, if they say yes, then you should be like, well, this is if you're like a scumbag like me. That's why I read. I don't actually read for my own edification. It's like, oh yeah, I've read Bukowski. It's like, how about Rimbaud? Have you read him? I've been really into Camus, maybe. It's good. And so on and so forth. But anyway, so like, I will give her like, you should read these books. You should take a listen to this band, watch this movie, or different things like let's go to this fancy restaurant or something, or let's travel. Let's go to New York. Let's go to Los Angeles. Let's go to Miami. Let's go to Europe. Let's see some art. It's more like broaden her horizons.
No,
stuff.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's
like,
most people should do that, but a lot of them don't.
yeah. I don't know. But then you just have to seek too. You have to look for that shit, and she looks for that shit. And I think,
if anything, all that probably just got her curiosity going. And
yeah.
It's like you said, you like Steve Martin. You're like, you see him, and you're like, oh, obviously this guy has a history. Like you just start going back and go down all those different paths. That,
or they just keep mentioning the fucking guy on some podcast, or they keep making a reference. At some point, you should be like, oh, let me look into this. What the fuck does that mean?
You want to understand that reference even more.
And then it's even funnier when someone's like, oh, he's one of the boys from Brazil. And then you can talk about Ira Levin. And then you can talk about, the Stepford Wives or Rosemary's Baby or the book, the boys from Brazil, whatever. Just, this is late 30s.
I've read the Wikipedia page of that.
Of what?
Boys from Brazil.
Yeah, the book is great.
I'm sure it is.
It's a terrible movie.
Oh, is it really?
I mean,
I forgot why I even looked it up.
It's probably an Archer reference or something I was screaming about in the rehearsal room.
No. This was like a while ago.
Okay.
I can't remember what I tend to do that where I just go down these rabbit holes of Wikipedia pages of different films and books.
It's a great
and,
starting point. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's great because you can get a summary of something and jump from there. Like I've done that plenty of times where I'm like, oh, I'll read that blurb, and I'm like, all right, this does sound cool enough that I'll take that extra leap and watch or read or whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. I love that. I mean, it's just wonderful.
More
There's so
often
much
watch
great
than read,
shit.
to be honest.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I find myself watching the same shit over and over again. Like,
dude, I just watched Kiss of the Dragon for like the 10th fucking time this morning.
Don't know what that is. I can't wait for you to tell me.
If you ask me, I think it's like one of the best Jet Li films.
Oh.
Yeah. Really, really good. It's Bridget Fonda is in it. It's like one of the last few films she does before she did a couple TV shows and then fucked off.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there's that dude. He always plays a French guy, but I don't think he's French at all. It's got a really crazy name, like Tchaikovsky. Something crazy. I don't know. You would recognize him if you saw him.
He's like, if I might borrow a Bill Simmons-ism, he's a that guy.
Definitely a that guy. Definitely. And he was on an episode I listened to, and they were talking about it, and they mentioned his name.
Oh, really?
And I was like, who the fuck are they talking about? And I was like, oh, it's that guy. It's the bad guy from Bad Boys.
Oh, right.
That guy who's been in a ton of fucking movies, you know. And,
has he? I mean, he has a very distinctive face.
And a voice, too, that you recognize because his accent is like the same in everything, no matter what
fucking
he's portraying.
But,
yeah, because I told you I got HBO recently. And I was just like, fuck it, let's do it. And so I always try to find something random to watch, you know, if I'm just killing time. And so, Kiss of the Dragon, it's a great movie. I think it came out, probably like 99, 2000 or something like that, maybe even earlier. And Bridget Fonda plays a hooker in France.
Okay, yeah.
And Jet Li is a
profession.
Right. Jet Li is, of course, this, you know, top of the class police officer from China supposed to be working with the French police.
Okay.
Figuring out this drug smuggling thing, and all hell breaks loose. And of course, the French cops are dirty, and they're trying to frame him. And but great. It's got some of the best like fight sequences he's probably ever done, I think. And it's great because it's like some of the other stuff he's done. It's a little hokey. Like The One is like a really weird, fun film, but like it's not.
Is that the one that takes place in feudal China and they're going to different palaces or something?
No, that's fuck. I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember. The one is it's the movie where it's multiple parallel universes that they can jump to. And there's a version of Jet Li that's evil and killing everyone himself because every time he does, he gets stronger.
Right. I
Jason
heard about
Statham
that.
is in it, which is great.
Oh, right. And
what's the fuck?
It's called The One. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of that actor's name. The black dude from Gone in 60 Seconds. It was like the cop. Can't fucking remember.
Oh, I like that guy. He's awesome. And
he's got a very distinct name, and I can't.
Timothy Oliphant was in Gone in 60 Seconds too.
Yes,
that's where
he was the partner. Yeah. Great. I love that movie.
By the time they let you out, there'll be space cars. I'm glad you mentioned our new sponsor, HBO Max.
Yeah.
Please, we need help. We need money. We need money. Anyone?
Anybody out there?
Anyone out there? How about I sponsor the podcast? How much would I have to give for my law office to sponsor the podcast?
We could just do it. We could just say it. Just give me a copy and I'll read it off.
I think I'll get some copy drafted and I'll attach a check, a company check, so that I can actually write it off.
Right? Yeah. Gobo was talking about potentially being an ad for the show for his clothing, merch company. I was like, yeah, let's do it. I don't know why we haven't.
Yeah. I don't think maybe I'll have the band do it. I'll tell Gavin we should give money to Bill so that he can promote our band.
Promote the band every week.
We don't have an interest in doing so.
I don't know if anybody's ever done that. Just be on pay a podcast, be just jock my band once a week, regardless of what the show's about.
Just mention it.
Just mention it.
I'm Ira Glass, and today we're going to be doing a deep study into systemic racism in the Bengalese hills. But first, a message from our friends at Lavisher. Reminding you.
Amazing. Holy shit. I would love that. You should probably look into that, actually. That's a good one.
I'm a little too busy trying to find a new Coke guy. It's funny because I don't do drugs, but no one's going to believe that because of your hearty laugh and this explanation. But
sounds like somebody would say that did hardcore drugs.
Well, speaking of watching random things, I started watching Boardwalk Empire about a week ago.
That's one that's on my radar, but I haven't watched yet.
I mean, it's been on. I suppose it's been on my radar for a while because I like Steve Buscemi or Buscemi or however you refer to his cold cut name, whatever. But so like we were talking about, like, you said something like, oh, I watch more often than I read, and that led us down the path of the one. And
you're right.
Yeah. But
Jet Li's whole filmography.
Yeah.
Like Lethal Weapon 4, great movie.
All right. Put a pin in what I was going to say.
Benny, but go
Lethal Weapons 1, 2, outstanding.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Phenomenal. Unbelievable. Like, and I'm not just saying this because, like, oh, I was 7 years old and I saw it and, Riggs and Murtaugh. I saw this for the first time as like I was 20 something or,
oh, wow. Okay.
I was aware of it as a child and I'm sure I saw some clips here and there, but to sit down and see it from start to finish, that was, less than 10 years ago, let's say.
Oh, no shit.
Whatever.
That's so funny.
And yes, I know there's some things they do like, that are not PC by today's standards at all.
Yeah, I'm sure. But that's...
And the whole thing of like, Mel Gibson is this hate monger or whatever. Yeah. So now we can't watch fucking Lethal Weapon anymore. It just really bums me out. Like,
or Mad Max or...
Yeah, like I can't enjoy fucking Mad Max.
Which is on Netflix right now.
Well...
I think, or Amazon Prime, but anyway.
Well, instead of shifting into like loudmouth ranting, this is that idea of like, how do you separate the artist from the art? Because, let's just stick with Mel Gibson because that's what we were talking about.
Dude, that conversation has been coming up more and more and more recently with like random people I talk to.
Really?
Yeah.
Like on the podcast or just in your day to day?
Just in life. When I start talking to people, like that subject gets brought up more and more. It's weird. It's really weird.
I think it's coming up more and more because there's no anonymity.
Right.
Whatever your tastes are becoming public or publicized, regardless of whatever measures you take to keep them private. And some of your thoughts, abhorrent as they may be, are coming to the light as well. And this isn't a justification of like, and that's why it's okay, to hate Latin people. Right. It's not about that, but at all of these people who are involved in music and film and literature. And I bring these three specific examples up, like in terms of music, there's all this shit with Michael Jackson or R. Kelly or,
apparently R. Kelly got the shit kicked out of him in prison recently.
Whatever. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I know. Or like, whatever other band, I'm sure there's no shortage of bands. Like, Phil Anselmo, the Lost Prophet dude, the Trip Edelson or whatever. That's it. Or like in literature, we are just, it's like such a lofty word to describe to J.K. Rowling. But she did write this, she recently or a few months ago tweeted about transgendered people not being actual.
She's been on a roll with like that stuff.
Like a bad roll.
Bad roll. Yeah. In the last like 2-3 years, I keep seeing stuff and I'm like, what the fuck is she doing? And
it is what it is. The point is, maybe not everyone deserves a fucking platform online, but at a certain point, does that mean it's done? Like Mel Gibson, he got pulled over. He's like, he's drunk, the Joes run Hollywood and blah, 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 which is something that fucking Marlon Brando did like in the mid 90s. He did the same fucking thing.
Cell phone recording of it.
Right. But he did get nailed for it, and I'm not saying that's right. Obviously it's wrong to have this, it's not a good thing, but does this mean I can never watch Mad Max again? It's over. Apocalypto, which he directed. That's a really powerful, simple story, but powerful.
Or What Women Want.
I didn't catch that one.
I think that's the one where he gets electrocuted and you can hear their thoughts, right?
I did see Man Without a Face.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
It's a good one. It's romantic.
Who's the kid in that? Is it Elijah Wood?
That I couldn't tell you. I didn't have the same taste for kids as I do now then.
Oh boy. Beep. Technical difficulties.
I'm just
What other great Mel Gibson movies are there? Now that we're talking about it.
fuck. Like iconic role where he was.
I mean, there's gotta be a ton of them.
I mean, he tried that with The Patriot. That was atrocious.
I like that movie as an action movie, but
Sure.
any outside of that, forget it. Yeah.
Well, what I'm getting at is like these people who are artists of one level or another. They're not perfect
Braveheart.
people. No one is perfect. Yeah, Braveheart, great movie,
Right.
really fun. It is what it is.
Horribly inaccurate, but
I'm not saying
really
it
fun.
has to be high fucking art, but there's that thing of separating the artist from the art. Can you do that? And there becomes a moment where I think you can't because what they've done is so atrocious,
Yeah, or
so
very egregious,
hateful,
too.
so
Yeah.
disgusting, you know. But there's just I think the reason this is coming up more and more is like I was saying, there's no privacy left anywhere. I mean, we're on this fucking podcast kind of dumping
Right.
out portions of
The
our
world
purse,
is seeing it.
you know, and however long it'll exist, it's there. But there's no nuance left. There's no nuance in almost anything. You just, if you're for this, you're for it. And if you're not, you're not. And you are rarely afforded an opportunity to actually talk about something. And I find that just, I mean, I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think it's the best way to go about it.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why you have to have these like broad sweeping positions because
There's definitely certain subjects where it calls for that.
yeah,
for
and there's a
sure,
certain amount of time,
you know.
but
But I think people tend to do the extreme all the time. You know, it's the me versus you, us versus them, this side versus that side.
well, it's like,
you know,
yeah, I feel like we're turning back around on that whole thing of like so and so destroys such and such.
Right.
Like, oh my fucking God. Could I just have fair and balanced analysis
right?
by someone? What was that show? Was it Perry Mason? Just the Facts, Ma'am?
I think that was Perry Mason.
Matt
right?
Locke? I don't remember.
Probably Perry Mason because that was the lawyer show.
Yeah.
It was like the first procedural show. on
Amazing.
TV.
Have you ever seen episodes of that?
No, I vaguely remember it growing up because I'm that old.
I know, me too.
How many times can we date ourselves on this show?
It's like every few minutes.
Right.
I think it's okay for us. I think we feel okay doing it
Oh, I'm
because,
fine. Yeah.
well, it's because we're not like super duper like, oh, my knee constantly hurts and I'm like in my,
my back.
you know, we
yeah.
still are like holding on to this like waning youth of our 30s. So it's like, ha ha ha, we're older. We were born in the early 80s.
Right.
I feel like in 5 years, it's like, don't bring up my age.
Right. We're not going to talk about that.
I was born in 1990. You know, I'm dyeing my hair by then,
Right.
wearing a fucking rug or something.
That was like, there was one time on the soil bus, there was like a pretty good age gap between the groups. So like, obviously Tim, Adam, and Ryan are all like the same age. Like, and then there was me, the drummer at the time, Mitch, and then this girl that Ryan was dating at the time. We were like the same age. And they started going off on this rant about, I forgot what, like some like TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, that's like the funniest thing ever. Do you remember that? And we're all looking at like the younger ones, and all of us are looking at each other like, I don't know what these old farts are talking about. Like we were just so lost. It was
Oh
like the
my
funniest
God.
thing ever. And we just kind of turned around and looked at them. They realized it too. They're like, all right, we get it. We're old. Like,
Well, it's like that
That's a
Abe
great
Simpson meme. It'll happen. I used to be
It'll
with
happen
it.
to you.
Then they changed what
What
it
it was,
was.
yeah.
What it was scared me.
it'll happen to you.
I have that frustration now because
I'm sure.
I
Yeah.
see like a lot like people who are into music have these blindingly eclectic tastes. And I think it's great. You know, I don't really understand it and a part of me recoils at it, but it's
Mhm.
like, oh, I like rap, I like dance, I love heavy metal. And it's okay for me to mix these things together and try to make a new brew. And a part of me resents it because when I was growing up, you couldn't do that. If you did that, you would just be teased, bullied, whatever.
Yeah, but eventually turns into something. You know, like the whole rap and metal, people made fun of that, and then it became a whole thing in new metal. And
Yeah.
you know, there's always those instances where, yeah, don't mix your chocolate with my peanut butter.
Yeah.
with those people,
don't mix your peanut butter.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
But
sorry,
the thing is, like, once people, the pioneers of that are always the ones that are going to get shit on at first, and then somebody finally refines it and it becomes a bigger thing than it is. And by then it's too late.
It's suddenly okay to like it.
Then it's cool. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, never saw that coming. Yeah. But it always happens.
Yeah. I kind of like that I grew up in that era where you couldn't be sensitive, even if you are a sensitive person. It's like, no, you gotta like, I'm not talking like Newt Rockney kind of way, like you are a leader of men, the what's his name from Death of a Salesman, Willie Loman.
Okay. Yeah.
You should read that, Arthur Miller. It's fucking amazing. It's really good.
They made a sequel to that.
You son of a bitch. Throw my hot coffee at you.
Did you ever see Orgasmo? Have you ever seen that movie? No. It's probably best that you don't. It's one of like I think it's the first film that the guys from South Park did.
Oh,
it's a live action film. It's not a cartoon.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's great.
I remember seeing the box for that at the video store on the weekends.
Yep. Oh yeah.
How fun was that?
How good is it?
No, I mean, like, don't you remember being like 7 years old, 5 years old? You go to the video store.
Dating ourselves again, but go on.
Fuck.
A long time ago, kids, there was a moment where you could walk into a store that had video cassettes.
Because it's
almost like a DVD if you remember those, if you're old enough. But it's as if you walked into Netflix physically. And all the art you can see is right there. But instead of being one picture of box art, it's like 30. And you can physically touch them. And there was backs to them with descriptions.
No,
Crazy.
I appreciate that this keeps happening, even though like it is kind of dating, because I'm about to like launch into some angry rant about like, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And then it just like some happier memory of like, oh, the VHS. What's behind those beads? Let me rent a movie.
Right.
I'm too scared to rent that. The box art is weird. Commando looks amazing.
Movie.
Predator. So good. The music from Predator also got used in 48 Hours. It's the same.
Did it really?
Yeah.
No shit.
It was first used in 48 Hours.
No shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's fun. That's what we sometimes listen to in the van when we're like leaving or getting to a venue.
Is that song also in Predator? I thought that was from Commando.
No. It's from... Oh, I think it is.
That's Commando.
I'm mixing them up.
Yeah.
I know it sounds... For those of you who grew up in the golden age of action film, like, how could you mix up Commando and Predator?
Well, one has a pipe going through the other guy, and the other one has a tree going through an alien.
Let off some steam, Bennett. The guy who played Bennett was in Mad Max in The Road Warrior. He played the guy with the mohawk. I know. No. That doesn't sound like a very good description. So have you ever seen Mad Max, the guy with the mohawk?
The Mad Max or...
not Thunderdome. Not Beyond Thunderdome. The second one, The Road Warrior.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Gotcha.
That's him.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's a great name because it's like this is at the time when it was acceptable to make fun of gays.
Oh yeah.
So they had him dressed up in leather and chainmail with like a obvious Freddie Mercury haircut and mustache. And they made him kind of a sadist.
Yeah.
And like in their big finale, which is ridiculous because this is like 1980 something, mid 80s. Arnold Schwarzenegger is like been retired from bodybuilding for at most 6 years because he competed in 1980 in a controversial Olympia. But, so he's like 6'2", at least 220. He's a big fucking
big
dude.
Boy, yeah.
And like this guy is like, has no muscle. He's like
a little out of shape for sure.
Out of shape.
Yeah. But just a big dude,
I guess, yeah. And the guy's holding a gun, and Arnold's character is like, "Come on, Bennett, you don't want to shoot me with that chicken shit gun. You wanna?" And then he like pulls out this gigantic Rambo-sized knife,
the old Bowie knife.
Yeah, and he's like, "You wanna put a knife in me and turn it?" And he starts turning it in his hands, and he's like, "And look into my eyes and see what's going on in there." And he says "in there" because it's
there.
And remember, this is the time where like Hollywood is like, you know what's funny? gay people.
Right.
You know
who we should bash?
You know
The
who we should
gays.
take a shot at? Gays.
You know who really has it coming right now?
Yeah.
The gays.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I guess, but
Weird turn, but all right.
Yeah. And so they have this like chain mail leather wearing character. I'm really loving just talking about Commando for the last 5 minutes.
I love it.
This is the best. And the guy is like, they're trying to make it that he's getting, like, I'm sure the sides on the script were like, pretend to get aroused while this is happening. Right. And the guy's like, I don't need no fucking gun matrix. And he takes out his knife and he's like, I'll kill you now. And it's like, it's incredible. It's an amazing fight. It's just...
It's an incredible ending to a film. Like,
it's so great. It stars a young Alyssa Milano.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Adorable young lady.
That's funny.
That's where he's fuck. Just if you haven't seen Commando,
oh please do. I don't know if that's on any streaming sites right now.
I mean, just get it somehow. I don't know.
do the work, people.
Yeah, do the fucking
go to Amazon.
work.
Amazon's gotta have it.
Or not, or go to YouTube. Something. Just figure it out.
That's true.
It's just such a great movie. So fun.
I'm curious because during that era of like Arnold Schwarzenegger action films and how it was just filled with like crazy one-liners like that, they're just amazing. How much of that do you think like they got away with because he probably didn't understand the language that well? That somebody was like, "This is a really cool line, trust me," and he was like, "Yeah, fuck it." No, because if he did it today, he'd be like, "That sounds ridiculous." Or would he still do it?
No, I think that passed. I think maybe in the first few films he did some stuff where his accent was so thick they were, overdubbing his voice, or they like
no, but I mean like actual lines he said, like let off some steam.
Bennett. No, I think it was all
you think he was in on it from the start?
Yeah, I think. Well, and I'm basing this on just numerous interviews I've read, or various times he's been interviewed, or just seeing him in various docu-style films, clips here and there. He was a very calculated individual. Like he was very clear on what he wanted to do, and he had his very grand ambition. So I think he was in on it from the start.
Really?
And I think there was a moment where he wanted to do comedy. This is before the movie Twins came out, and they found the script. And I think before that, they realized he was kind of it's funny to say like charismatic because of how blocky his execution is of lines, but there is a charm to that.
There's definitely, a charisma to it, yeah. Hey,
Sully, remember when I said I'd kill you last? That's right, Matrix, you did say that, you did. I lied. Yes. Fuck, man.
Good stuff.
We are talking about my fucking childhood. That guy was my idol.
Oh, he's the best. Yeah.
Well, actually, in Tales of Me Being Richer Than Your Listeners, when I'm in Hawaii in October for a week, I'm going to take the Arnold Schwarzenegger biography with me.
When did that come out?
Oh, it came out like 3, 4, 5 years ago, but I just haven't had a chance to read it because I keep reading other like random bullshit. And also, it's like a fucking tank of a book.
Oh, really?
It's not something that you read in a weekend, so I'm going to be there for like a week. So it's like, I'll just read about...
How far does it span?
I think it's his entire career, as far as I know. It's got a clever name, too. It's called Total Recall. Hilarious.
Oof. God damn you, Arnold. Who's going to tell him no?
No, I'm sure it'll be great, but he's like very...
Well, I know
he knows what he wants
he's a
to
smart
do.
Guy. He's a super smart guy.
Yeah.
To be as successful as he is and do all the things that he's done. That guy is like, he's on the level of like Michael Jordan of like that determination to like, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to fucking do it. You know, like
that kind of myopia is.
Yeah. Which is crazy. And it's rare,
I admire it. I mean, you said that you finally started watching or saw The Last Dance, right?
Yeah, I watched it like maybe like a week or two ago now.
Like, what was it about it that grabbed you or made you want to watch it?
Well, you guys talking about it a lot at practice, and everybody talking about it, and I grew up watching the Bulls and stuff. It makes me regret not appreciating it and watching it as much as I probably should have during that time because Yeah, I mean, like that dude is insane. But the behind the scenes of it is really interesting, and the amount of work that Jordan put into it, that you can take that and use it on anything else. You know, like that work ethic and that determination. Like, it's not just basketball. You could do that in other stuff, and like he even shows it in there with like the baseball and how he worked his ass off just to do that, and like, you know, and like other aspects of his life too. And yeah, it's a very inspiring documentary, I think. Even if you don't like basketball, or I was gonna say baseball,
basketball,
another great South Park
basketball.
Yeah, I think people should check it out just to hear the story behind him. You know,
well, if there's one person who needs another plug, it's Michael Jordan and ESPN Films.
By the way, check out his restaurant that opened up. Like,
no, but you know, that's these kind of people, like we were just saying, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michael Jordan. I mean, almost any person who's in a successful band. I'm talking about like those top tier bands.
Yeah.
You know, their whole life is just that thing and nothing else.
That's the common denominator with everybody like that.
Yeah.
It's like, to get to that level, it's because they just did that. Yeah. You know? Like, and there's a level, there's a level of insanity to it too. You know,
yeah,
like
of course.
Mania. And I think that's why we get a lot of these artists that some of them, you know, obviously cross the line, but some of them, it's like Prince, for instance. Like, you hear all these crazy stories about that guy. It's like, yeah, of course he was crazy. Like, look what he did musically. Look where he got musically. You know, like, you don't do that being a normal run-of-the-mill person, you know?
Yeah.
And then you get others that take it too far, that get in trouble and do horrible things, like Michael Jackson, for one, you know, like one of the biggest pop stars in the world. And look what he did on this, you know, like, because there's something there that may not be necessarily right, you know? And they channel that energy into something.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in those kind of circumstances, living a fantasy life. I mean, and just having this one thing be the focus of your life. Yeah, exactly. And why would they?
Yeah, why would you ever say no to that guy?
Fucking weird, man. But fuck. Speaking of artists, I've been able to go to the Art Institute a little bit lately. It's been terrific, man.
Haven't been there in a while.
You know, I'll like make jokes at its expense and say like, well, it's no Met, you know, like some fucking asshole, like, oh, it's not the Met, you know, you know, it's not the Prado, like, it's a fine fucking museum. I was just there like 2 weeks ago. I want to try to go tomorrow, but I love that shit. Just go in, see something that is outside of the realm that you dabble in. Let's see this visual thing. Let's just try to glean something new and see what you can take. Or why should I give a shit about this etching or this graphite, this acrylic, this oil? What's going on there? Let me read this little bit. That's just fun. I know that's kind of a non sequitur. All I'm saying is go to the fucking art museum.
I went to an art museum when I was in Amsterdam, thanks to TJ, the drummer of Soil at the time, because he loves doing that stuff. He likes, if they get somewhere, it's interesting, he's going to try to find the most interesting stuff to do. And we had a day off and we went to Amsterdam, and he mentioned, he's like, he's an early riser. So he's like, I'm going to get up early and I'm going to walk over there. He's like, there's a museum. They have an actual, like, I think there was 2 Van Gogh pieces in there. Fuck, and I was like, fucking sign me up. Let's do that. Because I don't want to just sit on the butt, you know, like, or just kind of randomly traverse the city with no goal in mind. So it was cool to do that. And great, beautiful, like, museum of all this art that we just went through and spent like a good chunk of the morning like doing that, which was cool.
And you never know what you're going to see, what's going to reach you, what's going to wake something up inside of you. So here I am going back to that idea of like curiosity. Where's your curiosity? What are you looking for? What are you exploring?
Yeah, going down the rabbit hole.
Going down the rabbit hole a little, just broadening your horizons. Like, I know, like, read something out of the ordinary, go to the museum, go to the gallery, just something. Because, like, there's people there. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know how something is going to strike you. And it doesn't have to be this highfalutin fucking art. I mean, this is the guy who has, like, a print of an ear with arms and legs sitting on a toilet reading a music magazine because I think it's funny. You know what I mean? It's not like I've got a bunch of fucking like Mapplethorpe prints in my house, like some kind of psychopath.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet anyway. I'm trying to get there.
Working on it.
I don't know. I'm trying to decide. So I have this tendency to buy things I don't need because even though my mother loved me plenty and gave me a lot of confidence, and that's why I'm seemingly well adjusted, I also have this thing of, when you grow up poor and then you finally are an adult, if you're lucky to succeed and you have some means where it's like, oh, cool, I don't have to wear my older cousin's jacket. Right. Like, I can just buy things for myself.
Right.
So, like, it's constantly this thing of, like, let me prove it to myself or to other people and let me get these status symbols. But instead of doing, like, the status symbol thing of, like, oh, these are my, like, $300 sunglasses, or here's my fancy car. My version of that is like, let me go to this weird bookstore and here are these books from like 1960 that are trashy romance novels and bad detective tales. And let me buy about 15 or 20 of these.
I have a stack of those.
Yeah, I have a very large stack. I have awesome. These multiple stacks. Like, one of the books is called The Female Peeping Tom. One of them is called The Body Brokers. I bought like some Agatha Christie thing, a choose your own adventure book. It's like dumb bullshit like that. And I bought one called like The More Cocktails, which is about some kind of prince/caveman who flies around the cosmos battling magical creatures.
Jesus, sounds like a good acid trip.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. Fuck, man. So I'm not sure if I should read James Joyce, which is like, this is a real fucking author. But then I've got, a book called The Judas, which is about a crime lord in like mid-century Chicago. Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, Portraits of an Artist as a Young Man is probably a lot more elevated reading. But I could also read, Tales of a Bedroom Commando, which is really the name of a book I recently purchased for like $12.
That's awesome.
So I need help on choosing which book to read. That kind of help, not any other kind of help.
Fair enough.
Fuck, man. I went on a date yesterday. Do you want to hear about it? It was fine. I mean,
know that you're live streaming, so
I don't care. She's not a friend on, even if she were like a Facebook buddy, I don't care.
Chimes in. What the fuck, dude?
It's fine. It's a first date. There's not really anything to lose.
What'd you do?
We went to the Anderson Japanese Gardens in Rockford, and I don't remember Rockford being that far away.
It's a hike.
It's a little bit of a hike.
Yeah, especially where you're at.
Yeah.
Like,
but
you got
whatever.
A bit of a head start on you.
So whatever. We went there. It was nice. I had just been there. I mean, I'm a big Asia-phile. Love all things Japan. Mm-hmm. I mean, not really the food, but everything else. The girls. I like whatever.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was good. I realize I am indoors too much. I need to like get out. Like, my life is a little too...
Let the bird out of the cage a little bit.
Yeah, so to speak. Like, there's too much, like, I'm at the office, I'm at home, I'm in the rehearsal room, I interact with my clients or my partner at the law firm. I interact with no one because I live alone, because I'm insufferable. And then I interact with you and Eddie and sometimes Gavin and George. And that's it.
Yeah.
That is it. Like, once in a while, I'll hang out with my younger sister. I'll see my mother, random fam. That's it. So this whole quarantine thing, it's like...
Catching up to you?
It's like getting bad because I'm out in the world.
I'm sure there's a lot of people like that.
I mean, this happened too. There was that bird I was dating not too long ago, who's a friend of ours, so to speak, friend of the family. And I had like a version. So one of the times I hung out with her, I went to her place and I was terrified. And it was so clear that I was out of my element and blindingly uncomfortable. I was like sitting on the
Being
couch.
at her place?
Yeah, I
Really?
was sitting on the couch in her living room, and I was like, legs in front, hands on my knees, kind of like freaking out inside.
Right.
And I'm not like someone who's prone to anxiety or any of these kind of things.
Yeah, you seem like you're pretty calm and collected. More often than
you
not.
know, and if things are going on inside me, I just sort it out, because most of the time when that kind of shit is happening, it's in a professional setting. So it's not like I can fucking wilt in front of a judge.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or if
Yeah,
some
you can't
other
do
lawyer
that,
is like giving me the business, I can't be like, you're right, I fucked up. And I was just like, so, you know, at that girl's house, I was just so like stiff. And I'm not a stiff person. I'm usually like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? You know, like having fun.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. And on this date, it was a similar thing happening where it's just like, I don't know if it's because it's happening at a place that isn't a bar, and I don't know how to function outside of bars when I'm meeting people.
Not your usual hunting grounds.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not like I need a drink to talk to someone.
Right. Yeah.
I'd like having a drink in my hand, you know, preferably some kind of scotch or a High Life or whatever, or a cigarette in my other one. Like, how's it going? You know, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if it's that, or if it's because like this fucking quarantine has me so just stuck in this cycle. I mean, I can't even go to a fucking show. If I go to some patio or some restaurant to have a bite, there's like the guilt that you feel like, oh, are you not helping? You know, I'm over the quarantine. Like, I'm not over it. I am over it. Can I go out? Is this responsible? Mask, no mask? Jesus Christ. But it's this thing of like, because it's like just limiting so much social interaction. And I know some people who have children and families, they're like, oh, this is really great. I'm spending all this time with my kids. It's like, well, that's all well and good. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's great.
Not
you know?
all of us are in that situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of us live alone.
Yeah, so I'm like on this
about us.
date, and I'm like, I can feel it. I'm doing my best to just be, you know, oh yeah, this is Japanese garden,
Listen,
pretty
yeah.
nice. Tell me about you. What do you like to do? What's, you know, grad school like? Where are you from? Blah,
This is
blah,
the first
blah.
date, right?
This is the first
Okay.
date. We've talked a few times on the phone. I don't know. I don't know how to fucking date anymore in this fucking modern world. It's ridiculous.
It's ever changing, and it's reached a platform that, we're similar in age, so I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
I just like going
feel
out
the
to a
caveman
bar.
that just showed up to Earth, and it's like, I don't know what this world is. Yeah.
Yeah, all of this, like, I'm going to let you. It's like some old, I think it's a Chris Rock bit or somebody, it's like some comedian was like, I finally have my shit together and I'm going to let you fuck it up with your love. You know?
Yeah. Just make everything topsy-turvy now with their shit. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a fine date. It was like a nice place to go. I think I was a little burnt because we had rehearsed in the morning.
Oh, okay.
And then I drive out there and it's like, what am I doing? I'm out here. Fuck.
I'm all the way out here now.
Jesus Christ. There's no like suitcase handcuffed to my drinking arm. Like, why am I here? It was fun. It's nice, but I just don't get it anymore. I just
What?
like this thing, like this coupling thing. I just want to go to a bar and just let it be very organic, but everything is so fucking curated now. I can't stand it. There's no spontaneity left in anything.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, it's like,
The variables are getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, I'm so fucking tired of that. Like, it's nice, you know, you see the picture, whatever, you have a few talks, blah, blah, blah. And I make use of the tools of my time, but just, you can't just go out and talk to fucking people because everyone is so fucking bent out of shape about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, figuratively everything.
Right.
But you just can't. And there's so many taboo subjects now. And
Yeah, that's true.
whatever.
Yeah, the whole picking of sides and stuff. And if you
Everything
don't
is-
hit all those check boxes, boom, done, out. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, even when it comes to just having a platonic relationship with your buddies.
Right. It's becoming that where it's like you don't fit every checkbox. No, we can't be friends. It's like, what? Like, hold on. Like, slow down. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've got a couple of buddies who are on the wrong side of history, let's say, when it comes to their like pro-Trump stance.
Right.
I don't think that makes them like motherfuckers and fuck them forever. I think it's just misguided.
Yeah, for sure.
But, you know, like I went to grade school with this guy and I don't agree with everything he says, but I would be remiss if I acted as though like those times we've played pool together or had drinks together was because there's this thing that you should be able to have these opposing opinions. And I know this is where it starts to get really dirty because it's like you shouldn't really have an opinion on like police brutality. I mean, it just is. It's just bad.
Right.
But I just, there's just the lack of nuance in anything. It's just so boring.
Right. Well, I was just
fucking
talking
boring.
to some friends about that the other day, and you know, like the whole stance on Trump for him, against them, and if you know everybody's boom split apart.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, and I had some friends that you know are Trump. I know I have friends that are Trump supporters, whether they are very vocal about it or not. I know they're there. But at the end of the day, they're my friends where I don't really give a shit about that because I know they're not the ones doing the extreme stuff that you see. It's easy to find if you go to YouTube or whatever and just look up shitty Trump supporter and and I'm sure you can find it on, you know, in another opposing side or whatever, but
sure, like the extreme example or like the what is it, the outlier that supposedly sets the example for the whole
the people on the fringes and stuff like that, which is a small margin of people, and obviously it doesn't represent everybody that's, you know, on that spectrum, you know, but
well, let me interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt, but let me just say this quickly. This isn't a defense of Trump and his policies. Obviously, I think what I'm saying, and I'm sure Bill will agree, is just this obsession with politics as though it means something. Politics is just something that comes and goes, and it's just a bunch of assholes who are narcissists and self-obsessed with themselves and with holding power. They will say anything to get it, and that isn't to besmirch people like FDR and the New Deal and what AOC wants to do with the Green New Deal and Bernie Sanders and so on and so forth. But all of this fucking fervor that people have for this bullshit, these cults of personality, and like, you know, fucking the Democrats, I'm a libertarian, I'm a Republican, I'm a Second Amendment guy, I'm a this or that. It's like, where's your interest in, I wish people had that kind of interest and passion in something that fucking mattered.
Yeah, right.
Like, politics is so fucking temporal. Like, I wish, you know, like you were so fucking hot and bothered about the Second Amendment that you like fucking read the Federalist Papers. You fucking read up about the history of the Supreme Court. You read books about like the civil law system.
Tall order you got going.
No, but
there.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, where
sure.
the fuck is that? I'm not saying everyone has to go to fucking college or something, you know, and you have to get a certain education to talk about these things.
A lot
but
of people
like,
should read beyond the headline. You know?
I mean, not even that. It's not even that. I mean, like, I will be on YouTube sometimes and I'll see these videos of people doing a restoration of like a tea kettle or an old axe. And it's like, that's awesome. I don't know what this guy's political beliefs are. I just see he has this skill and interest in this craft and he's doing it. And I would love to talk to that person and just be, what got you into that? How long does it take you to work on something like that? How long did it take you to develop that kind of touch? And like, I love when people who are passionate about something and very well versed in it talk about it. It's my favorite thing. I don't particularly love stand-up comedy. I enjoy laughing because I'm not a fucking monster, but I don't seek out like comedy specials. Like,
oh, really?
Earlier, you're like, did you see that Louis C.K.? I'm like, no. And
if you see my Netflix of like, would you like to watch again? It's all stand-up.
Yeah. But by that token, I listened to You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes for years and years and years, and the Nerdist and the ID10T podcast, the Chris Hardwick one.
Okay, yeah.
Years and years. And it's for the longest time. Excuse me. Now I do it on mic. It was
not so easy, is it?
Yeah. It was nothing but stand-up comedians. And it's not that I had this desire like, oh, I want to get on stage and do my Marie bit or something. But it's just, these are guys who have lived that life and they've gone on the road and they, you know, they look to the old masters and they would just talk about the craft of it. And it's like, I wish more. Yeah. And like, anything, any subject.
No,
could it not be politics? Like I sometimes listen to Pod Save the America,
Right.
like any other
You gotta
like
check in every once
Democratic
in a while.
lefty, New Dealer. But everyone is like, even in my own family, the pro-Trump people in my family, which is the most ridiculous statement I've ever made, because it's like all of us are fucking immigrants. I was the first one born here. It's like maybe
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, like remember,
that's
so insane. But it's like, hey, so-and-so in the family, maybe you could be more interested in, I don't know, anything like
use
Hispanic music,
something else.
yeah, cooking, anything. But it's like, no, politics is my thing. It's like the most banal thing.
I don't know. I think it's just the flavor of the week, like
it's the flavor of the last 4 fucking years.
Right. But I mean, it's just those, these topics come and go all the time. And this is it right now, and it's hard to not see it because it's just so prevalent in everything, and it's just shoved in our faces, whether you wanted to or not. Like, you go on Instagram and you're suggested videos about, well, look what this guy has to say about this politician. It's like, I don't want to bother with it. Like, what are we doing? Can I just watch a video of some guy staining a guitar? Like, why do I need to see that? Or if you go on Facebook, it's video after video of somebody else that's in some political viewpoint that it's like, I know, come on, anything else.
Something else. This Facebook is for stupid videos or dumb memes about horse shit.
Can't we just go back to that again? Like,
and that doesn't mean I want to sweep what's happening under the rug. Like, I don't want to hear about it. Just play football. No kneeling.
There are certain instances for sure that should be brought up and talked about, but I think we're getting carried away with it because it gets a reaction too. That's the thing. It gets a reaction, big or small. It gets a reaction if you're talking about politics. Yeah. I fell for that shit. Like, bringing it up on my Facebook and it blew up and I was just like, oh God, I'm done.
That was so ridiculous. What a simple, I wouldn't say innocuous, but it's just
almost innocuous.
It's almost innocuous. It was just like, hey, I see what you're saying, but just by the way, you are not perfect either. And here's a very safe example of you not being perfect. And then like all fucking hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Name names. No.
And so the following, it was interesting. And like, if buddy was like on the side of Trump and started to go down the rabbit hole of some of, for lack of a better term, conspiracy theories. He uses another term for it because it's not a conspiracy theory. It's an alternative idea, I believe.
That's ridiculous. That is just so fucking ridiculous. I know you know that. But I
understand because it is, if you're into that shit, it's insulting to be called like a conspiracy theorist, because now it's a negative connotation.
I feel 10 years ago, always been negative.
No, 10 years ago, you're like, conspiracy theorists, like we could watch a documentary about why they think the moon landing was fake and this is funny, and now it's like they get upset about it and whatever, and and I told him, I was like, hey man, like the stuff you're telling me is difficult to really grasp, and I don't think I'll ever be on that page, like sorry, but end of the day, I don't hate you, I'm not mad at you, like if shit goes down, I got your back. Just have my back. How about that? We're friends, right? At the end of the day. And he agreed with that. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. I can do that. I was like, can't we all just be like that? Like, we're friends, guys. Let's be friends. Who gives a shit what your political leanings are? Just if we're all in this together, if something starts going bad, let's have each other's backs. How about that instead?
This is already like so much political talk. I can't stand it. I fucking hate it because I feel like politics invades my daily life.
Yeah, like I said, it's hard to right now. It's hard to get away from it just because it's everywhere and everybody's chiming in. But I don't know. There's other stuff on the internet, like other great stuff on the internet.
There's porn.
There's porn.
For Christ's sake, there's so much pornography.
Most recently, I found this video that just.
I hope it's not a porn. Please don't talk to me about pornography.
It's this video that I saw on Imager where it's another I think it's a podcast or a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Two guys that just play games. And they were talking about, you probably won't know it if I told you, but the artist is called Darude and the song is called Sandstorm. And you probably don't, right? That
Can we play some of it on the podcast?
It'll probably get flagged. And when you hear the song, you're like, oh my God, I remember that song. It was in every movie in the 90s. It's like this techno song that has this blaringly loud, like, it's ridiculous when you hear it. I just was like, this is the funniest thing ever, and just sent it to a bunch of people. I was like, you need to hear this. Like, I've watched the video like a dozen times now of them talking about this song, and it's amazing. And it's like, can't we just do that? Can't we just talk more about that stuff again? When Newgrounds was a thing, and E-Bomb's World, and all that. Like, I miss those days. Early YouTube, you know?
Yeah, no, and I feel like I have to keep saying this. This isn't a defense of like, so it's okay for you to think that, you know, it's not. You know, there's all this defense of like the Confederate flag and that's my culture and all that stuff is horseshit. And
bullshit. Yeah,
you do need to call it out, but it shouldn't be all consuming. That shouldn't be your fucking personality. If your personality is like, I'm a so-and-so guy or I'm a such and such girl, you are a boring fucking person and you need to sort it the fuck out.
You're extremely one-dimensional.
And also, I just have nothing but contempt for the subject, even though we keep fucking talking about it, because it's like everything this fucking guy does fucks with my practice and fucks with the law, which is something
you have an
sacrosanct to me, you know? Like, I studied the law very thoroughly and very deeply, and so when, you know, some asshole is making, you know, very, what's the word? Like, he's just suddenly making a change to the law, or somebody is suddenly like putting their fucking commentary, like, well, this is what I think. It's like, you know what, pal? I don't give a fuck what you think, because you don't know what res ipsa loquitur means. So shut the fuck up. And I know that's like very ivory tower of me. But like, I just don't give a fuck.
Right.
You know?
That's understandable. Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, like, I just have other interests. Don't let that be your main thing. And
like another hobby. Get a hobby.
I don't know. It's like an exhaustion, because you know, anyone who reads even a modicum of history, it's the same thing. Like, well, fuck the Germans, fuck the Italians, fuck the Irish, fuck women, fuck blacks, fuck Native Americans, fuck the non-landed white men, fuck poor people, like, screw the gays, fuck the Puerto Ricans, fuck immigrants. It's like over and over and fucking over again. And it's just ridiculous. Like, how do you think this is okay? Why is this okay? They're taking our jobs. Like, listen, asshole, if you're dumb fucking... See, well, you know what? I'm getting it out. This is, you know what? I'm getting it out. It's like all that they took our jobs bullshit, which is also like a funny South Park episode.
You're right.
But it's like, listen, you stupid fuck. You who were born here in America, if you're too fucking stupid that you can't compete with Juan, who came from rural Ecuador, which is a lot more fucking rural than rural America, let me fucking tell you. And that guy came from Latin America, Central America, crossed through Mexico and risked being murdered or at the very least kidnapped. And then he came here with nothing and he took your job. It's because you're a useless piece of fucking shit.
Lazy piece of shit.
Yeah. And also, all these stupid fuckers who are like, they're working illegally, they're stealing, they're not paying taxes. Like, yes, they are paying taxes. They either use fake social security numbers or ITIN numbers, which is an individualized tax identification number, which if you don't have status here, you can get. The federal government gives you this, and they give that to their employer, and so let's say it's not even that, it's just the fake social security number. The employer will discover that it's fake and not give a fuck, because the IRS will bounce that number back and say it's wrong. And they fucking know it's wrong too. Guess what? They're still collecting taxes based on that number.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you have the rare example of the person who's working for cash, so they're not paying payroll tax, whenever they buy something in the world, they're paying fucking sales tax. So they are contributing.
Going right back into the government. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I was really looking forward to coming on this podcast and just complaining about Eddie for like
really haven't
2 hours. Like, I feel like I haven't given him the business, and here I am bitching about fucking immigration.
No, let's get back on Eddie. Fuck that guy.
I feel like I should just take like a couple more minutes
his
to like get
birthday
out my political
yesterday?
points.
2 days ago? Friday? His birthday?
Yeah. Fuck, what day was it?
When did I text
Friday.
him? Friday. Okay.
Yeah. That was a different date I went on. It was in the West Loop. Same.
little closer
It was
home.
better because I had
Better.
a drink in my hand. And that's true.
You got to bring some road sodas with you if you can do those long.
But it was like the kind of date where you're like, I'm not really feeling it. And I don't even, like, there's nothing here at all. But thank God I have this drink in my hand.
That's something, right?
I guess. Now I've been to Princey and I've had like a espresso vodka infused martini.
All right. Sounds delicious.
It was. I got really drunk really fast.
The martinis are shit, dude.
I don't like martinis,
Really?
frankly, because of the olives. Don't like the taste of an olive.
You don't have to do the traditional one. You can go to like...
It feels like...
Here's a plug. Cafe de Luca in Forest Park. Go there for the martinis. I love it when my friend Alex visits because her mom and like her whole family like to go there.
Yeah.
And like half price martini night or whatever. It's like a Tuesday or Thursday.
That's fun.
So we'll start the night there, and like all her like her mom and her aunts and her friends are just like, "You kids have fun," and they're like giving us drinks. I was like, "All right, this is great," and then it turns into, "All right, we gotta go to the bar and keep this drinking going." It's only 10 o'clock, you know.
There's a great place in Chicago for that called Marty's. Great martinis.
Marty's Martinis.
Have you been there?
No.
Oh, I was about to say.
Is it called Marty's Martinis or is it just Marty's?
I think it's just Marty's. I've only been there a
waste of alliteration, but go on.
A handful of times. Like big fucking glasses, expensive but very good quality. Very small place, a lot of wine. It's whatever, martinis. They're it's the kind of thing I wish I liked because of the history. Like, James Bond drinks martinis. Right. I'm like James Bond. He said in his basketball shorts and sleeveless shirt and unkempt hair. Me, just the same as like him.
In every way, shape, or form.
Just the same.
You look like a young Daniel Craig, yeah. Maybe more Pierce Brosnan.
Oh my God.
Definitely not Sean Connery.
Was Pierce Brosnan your first Bond? Do you get into James Bond?
I have the entire collection on DVD because I bought it at an estate sale for like $10, which is a great purchase.
I'm sorry. Tell me about this estate sale.
That was years ago. A friend of the family.
The thing you used to do for fun?
Well, we have like a friend of the family that he runs estate, or he used to run estate sales. He recently stopped, but like,
did he die?
His partner died.
Oh, okay,
like
so
in it. But he's like, he's
guess
80,
it's not funny.
We could turn it. We can make it funny.
So his partner died, like his business partner.
Business partner.
Oh, okay.
He is gay, but it's not like his life partner, if you will.
Like 90s sitcoms. This is my partner. Oh, what are you guys partners
the
in?
landlord that we're just partners.
Sorry. So
no. Yeah, he was just running a estate sale, and we kind of get like
the heads up.
Yeah. So we'll pop over there. And we usually it's because we help him move stuff because at that time they're in their late 70s and
oh fuck
yeah. So we just help him out, move some stuff around, and then get first dibs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is great. And I just stumbled across it. The person had like a decent collection of DVDs, and I saw that massive box set, and I was like, I'm not the biggest James Bond fan, but this is awesome. Like, give me an excuse to like watch them. I still haven't. That was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, dude, the James Bond is. I love that character. The books are great. Yeah. The movies are really entertaining.
Yeah, I've watched a good majority of them growing up, like if they're on cable or whatever.
Oh yeah,
but the first one I did ever see in theaters was GoldenEye.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. My uncle took me.
And of course, the Nintendo game that followed it was like one of the biggest games at that time.
I didn't have an N64, so I only played that game a handful of times, and that was it. So I don't have that same like connection where everyone's like, "Oh my god, first, blah blah blah." I mean, I get it because those couple of times I played it, it really made a mark, but it just wasn't something that we could
grew up with.
Yeah, because it was a resource that we couldn't have. But
just games.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones, and then I watched the second one with Daniel Craig, not the first one.
Quantum of Solace.
Yeah.
And
that I was like, I don't know what's going on.
That wasn't cool. Very good. The Casino Royale and Skyfall are the two best ones he's been a part of.
Which one has Anton Chigurh from
Javier Bardem.
That's it.
Skyfall. It's so good. His introduction in the film, it's a one shot, static shot. He's descending an elevator and then he starts walking toward Bond, who is restrained, and he's telling a story. My grandmother had an island. It's so good. It's so fucking good.
He does the coin flip thing again.
Well, it's somewhat. He does something. He does put Bond to a choice, so to speak. But yeah, that one's fucking great.
I have to check it out.
The Sean Connery ones are.
Those I remember watching a lot as a kid.
I mean, watching them as a grown up, you naturally you appreciate, but also catch a lot more, and you're like, oh my God, the way they made him blend in with other Japanese people was to have him hunch over a little and they pasted eyebrows and a hairpiece to him and just gave him a slight tan. That's pretty bad. Or like all the times where he's like, bad. Oh my God, the sexism and racism is so rampant. I'm
sure.
But I don't think it's something that you need to cancel it. Like, this is,
Nobody's brought it up yet. At least I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, no, it's come up. I mean,
it is. That's why, that was one of the things I talked about before, was doing a second podcast where we talk about those movies, like anything from like the 80s and 90s, specifically
60s, 70s.
You could do it too,
sure.
But like 80s and 90s, I just grew up with a lot of those, and there's so many. Like every once in a while, I'll go back and watch them. And I'm like, holy shit! How has nobody like brought this movie up and been like, look what they did here. Like, fuck this actor. He shouldn't, like weird shit like that. Like, I'm surprised.
Well,
there's more of that.
That's like, again, that artist and the artwork thing. And also, like taking shots at women or taking shots at gays or what have you, or how you portray, a black character or some such thing. Was that, is that just merely a reflection of the time? What made it acceptable then? Would it be acceptable now? Was the motivating factor something negative, or was that just what it was? So it's not okay. But if you start putting a modern lens on everything, nothing is going to be okay. That's where you get these fucking idiots who are like, we gotta, get Abraham Lincoln off the penny. It's like, sorry, he wasn't Christ incarnate. I mean, he did keep the country from tearing apart, but you're right. He jerked off to his little sister one time. So Abraham Lincoln's out or whatever. I don't know. Right.
Well, like
Abraham Lincoln.
Gone with the Wind, I think they took off of streaming sites and stuff like that.
It's so ridiculous.
It's a period piece. Like, what are we doing here, people?
Yeah.
Like that is crazy.
Welcome to two middle-aged white guys with Hispanic roots talking about race in media. I'm your host, nondescript.
This is going to turn into that second podcast. Cut the show in half and I'll just make it a second one.
I mean, it's like anytime we're in the rehearsal room and you, Eddie, or I like start talking about like girls, and it's like three single guys talk about relationships.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah, and two of them are Italian with very antiquated views on man-woman relationships. And I'm not talking about Bill.
We need a fourth person in the room to write all this down. These are great ideas.
I get it.
Really solve some shit today, guys.
Yeah, Jimbo over there is like really getting it. He don't write so fast, but he likes what we're saying.
We should just bring the camera and just set up a live stream while we're practicing, so the world can know, right?
I love how practice has just turned into this thing of the excuse for all of us to get together and just catch up.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like that. We're a little more professional about it, though, than some other bands that I'm in.
Wow. I feel like we're so unprofessional. I mean, I don't feel like...
We've kind of been slacking a little bit more than when we first were all together. But I think that's just because of the fact that we're not as social outside a band because of the pandemic.
Like, let me tell these guys what's going on.
I got to talk to somebody. Like, I can only say so much to my cats before they're just like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to go lick my asshole in the corner. You have fun, Bill. Like,
oh my God.
Can't really bounce off too many ideas off of them. So I think that's kind of a byproduct of that. But even then, we get the work done.
Yeah. Thank God we met up on Saturday, because I I don't know how it happened. We were like so on the ball. I felt so good. And then all of a sudden I feel like we lost the steam and I like crashed into a wall.
I think we just hit like a series of just bad timed events that threw us off.
Yeah.
Out of our control, you know?
Yeah. Like first the thing happened. I think the thing happened with some people that we knew passing away just very unexpectedly. And that kind of threw Eddie out of the loop. And then I think something happened in my circumstance as well. Whatever. How do you measure that kind of thing? Right. Which is fucking worse. They're like all terrible.
Well, then I had like the little mini COVID scare where I was like, I'm not going to take my chances. Like, I'm not going to show up.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
No reason to. We're not curing cancer playing in this band. So there's no reason to do any of the stuff that
happens when I sleep with girls.
Right.
Yeah, and then like I hurt my back randomly, and I was out of commission for like 2.5 weeks.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of stuff out of our control that kind of led to that. But
it sucked. And now we're like
back at it.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm so glad that we met up yesterday, and we were just working on those little parts here and there. Yeah. And then I was doing like the most self-indulgent masturbatory thing. I'm driving out to fucking Rockford and I'm like, I guess I was listening to the songs, like trying to do some homework. Just like, yeah, that's right. This, that, and the other. What's that, ostinato that I do in this song? That's why I don't do it in that other one, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, that's right. I have the remastered version or the remixed of the first. So I listened to of our first record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow, yeah, Pete did a really good job. This thing has been out for 6 months. I'm finally like actually listening to it.
I waited like a good month or two after.
Yeah, I still haven't even listened to all the songs.
Well, I'm not even on that record, so I don't have a lot of stock into it.
Yeah, I was listening to it. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. This is fun. And then I put on the next one. I was like, oh, that's good. It's like, you motherfucker, you're listening to your own band. Do you jerk off to a picture of yourself from the last year?
Speaking of comedians, Donald Glover, his special weirdo talks about that because he does rapping as under the moniker Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
And he's like, when you're a musician like that or an artist, is like, you got to listen back to these things because you're just checking in to see like, oh, how did this sound? And he like picked up a friend and she would get in the car and she's like, you're listening to your own music? And he's like, yeah, it's not because you have this ego. It's just, I'm checking out some stuff. Like that's not the case, Yeah. I always think about that in the back of my head. It's like, it's not because I'm like, man, I've made this sound so good. I need to hear it. It's like, no, I got to hear how horrible, like, did I botch this part? Did Gabe miss that snare hit? Like,
oh, fuck, man.
Is Eddie's vocals on point here? Like, what do we, you just got to keep listening over and over again. And yeah, I don't know. I think from an outsider perspective, it's definitely like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Fine tooth and comb these things.
Yeah, fine tooth and comb these things. What was that?
Fine tooth and comb.
Okay. I guess we're changing that idiom.
What's the idiom?
Like go brush through it with a fine tooth comb.
I shortened it. What do you want from me?
I don't know. I mean, if
we're in a rush here,
if you're gonna engage idioms, I'd like them to be accurate.
Nah. It's my show.
It's your show. It is your show.
Have you met my father? No, you've never actually met my father.
No, I met your father and mother for a hot minute because I went to the warehouse to pick up a chair or some such thing for the van.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But it was like
brief, yeah.
Very brief. It wasn't.
We've heard stories about my dad. You can understand.
Oh my God. I love the
apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I'm glad that we're not going to bring any of them up. We're just setting it up for your next episode. That's my favorite thing to do.
No, next episode it's a music one. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
One of those new metal.
Yeah, new metal 5 or 6.
I really enjoy those for a lot of different reasons, but I like listening to them because it makes me think of my own history, not necessarily with those bands because I listen to.
I'm sure it brings up memories.
Yeah, like I went to the Fireside and I saw Dillinger Escape Plan in like fucking the year 2001, and it was incredible. Or
fuck yeah.
I saw Pantera and Slayer and Static X and Morbid Angel at the Rose, and it just,
hell yeah.
I can't talk about it in the way that you, Eddie, and Jason will like get into this nitty fucking gritty, like, and so-and-so was playing the drums.
Right.
And that's when Jim Brown was the fucking, tour manager. It's like, Jesus, what the fuck were you guys, how do you know this shit?
Nerds, man.
Yeah.
Nerds about it.
But, I was busy being, whatever. I was going to say
Doing
something
cool
stupid.
shit.
No, I wasn't. I still am. But, yeah, I like those episodes because it's, again, this is like a subject where you guys really have this intense history and you know about it. And so it's very interesting to hear you talk about it and talk about this thing that's really personal. And it's like a sweet memory that you have, even though we're talking about bands that are singing about like spine rippings,
Right.
But it's like, man, yeah, I remember I was like such and such age and I was listening to that and it was like the Yingwei solo came in and whatever the fuck,
Yeah, it triggers
and
a lot of memories.
Glenn Benton
for
did
other
that
people.
thing. Yeah. I love that. I love thinking about that time when I would go to a show and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Cause it happens so rarely now because like, I'm sure you feel the same way. Cause like we play shows, we've been to a bunch of shows, we listen to a lot of
Very
music.
Desensitized. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's such a breath of fresh air when it's like, oh, is this what, the Stooges sound like? Holy fuck. This is Nico and the Velvet Underground. Or like when we saw Wayland Storms last year.
That band rules.
Did we play with them?
We played with them at the Owl.
Right. And with Montrose Man.
Montrose Man, yeah.
Fuck, man.
That was a great show.
That was a great show.
It was a phenomenal show. And I wish more people were at that show just because
Wayland Storms
were
was
amazing.
So good. And they finally released that record, that song Grass.
Yeah, which is just a phenomenal song.
It's so good. That's what I'm talking about. It's just, it doesn't happen that often where,
rare. Yeah.
And when it happens, I cherish it. And that's
yeah, you got to hold on to it a little bit more these days.
Yeah. Because there's this idea of like, well, it's time for the next one. It's time for the next single. It's like, can I just enjoy this for like a solid 6 months, maybe a year or two? Like it takes me a while to get through.
Yeah, I think a lot of other bands lose out on that because you're still riding on that high from that one band that when we go see another band inadvertently or, you're just kind of like, I'm still on that. Like, I don't think I'm in the mindset to be like, ooh, they did this, like, it's just back to back to back to back to back to back. You kind of lose it after a while, I think.
Well, I mean, I think it's just because it's hard to write music that touches something. It's got to like spark something inside of you. Like the best music has to cause some kind of reaction inside of the cockles of your heart. Like it's got to awaken something that's rusted through and you start feeling it turn like Guillermo del Toro style, and it's fucking Pan's Labyrinth or something like, and that, Wayland like, bow, down, and it's just so massive. So fucking great. Or like, sitting down and actually like giving bands the old college try, like, all right, let me just sit down and listen to.
Yeah, it's difficult to do sometimes. Like, I don't know. We come across shows where it happens. Something going on, something new.
I don't. I think. Yeah, I saw that and
Brandon.
Yeah. About Mudvayne. It's like
Mudvayne. That song "Silence" about censorship.
No, I don't. But I do.
I do remember that song. I didn't know it was about censorship though.
I mean, that's a great band. That
band rules. I almost picked it for our new metal coming up, but then
what are the bands for that one coming up? That's tomorrow or whatever.
Next week.
Sure.
2 weeks. How do we do this?
This is a warm up.
Right? What's tomorrow's episode? Oh, tomorrow's episode was the last live one that we did. It's so weird now with the live aspect of it. Yeah, because every episode is a week before it gets dropped. But no, the bands are Drain STH.
I don't know what.
Okay. Do you remember?
No, Bill. No. Sorry, I don't remember. They played with the Rolling Stones, though, right?
All the time.
I'm being the asshole who doesn't remember them.
Oh my God, I forgot.
Is one of them Ditchwater?
Why am I drawing a blank?
is great radio.
Deftones and Nonpoint.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
That should be a blast.
Wait, so what are the three? What was the first one?
Drain STH. That was like, they
Who
weren't
picked
like
that
the
band.
Eddie.
Jesus Christ. You know, sometimes I feel like that thing is like a little too cute. Like, what Fear Factory record did you choose? Demanufacture? The fucking gigantic one?
No,
like,
obsolete,
no.
man.
I picked the other one. The one that was a little bit of a letdown.
A little bit of a letdown? No. How dare you? Worst. Yeah, I was almost going to pick Mudvayne, but I feel like that's one. Because what's interesting about these shows is like, some albums are just bigger than others and they warrant this longer conversation. So it's hard to like, I want to, because like Deftones, I have a feeling we're going to talk a lot about that band just because I have like a massive history with that band.
Sure.
Because I like them so much. So imagine we're going to be talking a lot because like, what was I going to, I don't know. There was another band I had in mind, but I was like, nope, this is another one of those big bands that we're probably spend a chunk of the time talking about.
Right. There's like a couple of supporting acts, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then like, this is the band. And then Eddie's like such a fucking verbose orator. It's good. He can tell a fucking story.
I like talking as much as I like talking about the bigger bands. I do like talking about the smaller ones too, that didn't quite get the
like
spotlight.
5.0
stuff like like that. They popped up when I was looking up new metal bands. I was like, man, I remember them after they had already disbanded, and that's the one, the husband and wife, right?
I don't remember, but I know they had like a moment where they were touring with someone pretty like Lamb of God or something.
They did really well for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like not even half, like a few shows and they're like, you guys should be headlining.
Yeah. And then they just
got
out for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Who knows why any of these bands end. It's just, it's
you're
impossible.
Talking to you, actually, it was part of the reason why I picked what I picked, which was Nonpoint. Yeah. Because you were talking about that. Actually, just the one song, right? Which is the album we're going to be talking about. But and it's fun. That should be interesting just because I know them.
Yeah.
They're
definitely
actual
colors
friends of mine, you know? Yeah. So we'll see. It'll be funny. I should text Rob and be like, hey man, I'm gonna be talking shit about you.
That's like we're touching on a favorite subject of mine, like how do you criticize bands, which is such like an old thing. It's like it feels so ancient to bring this up as like a kind of bit because no one goes to shows anymore, but and it's like it's so well worn, you know. It's that thing of like your buddy's band plays like and you don't like the music, what do you say? Like it was tight.
Is it good?
Very interesting.
Most,
you know,
over the plate compliments you can think of. Yeah, don't
Loved
lie
it.
to that.
Live show was great, outstanding.
You guys crushed it.
Yeah, I feel like at least there's that. At least, I mean, not that I ever felt like I had to go to someone's show. It's like let me save you the time. I don't care. You know, like
that's an honest friend. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't care.
Yeah, they don't have a pool table at Bottom Lounge, so all the best.
Sorry, it doesn't fit my requirements.
Yeah, no, that's going to be fun. Like to, you know, I came across, I mean, I never listened to that band, but I was aware of the name because they were a Chicagoland band, it felt like. Or it was just Nonpoint, but they're from Florida, right?
They're originally from Florida.
I guess it's just because like in that era, early 2000s,
I think they came to Chicago a lot too.
Yeah, it feels like it, or it was just, that was the age where I was like 18, 19 years old. So I was just sucking up everything music wise. Save your dirty jokes, you motherfuckers. And just so typing now.
Gotta get him.
Get him.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah, and then like meeting you whenever it's only been a few years that we've known each other. Talking about that band and talking about Rashid, who we both know. We have that shared history with him. He was the guitar player in a band in the early 2000s called Crash Poet that played a lot of fucking shows in Chicago.
Very popular.
Very popular band. They would play the Metro, I would say, it felt like they played on a monthly basis. I'm sure the reality was they didn't play it that often,
Right,
but
but
at that time
like
it
right?
felt like, holy shit, Crash Poet, Colonel Stem, Undertow, fuck, like this is amazing. And it really was amazing. It was so fun. It was outstanding. This is when the Metro gave a shit about the local scene.
Right.
And I
really
understand they have to make a buck and all that stuff, but I just, whatever. That's like getting into a conversation about the scene and music and all of the booking, and
go for days talking about that.
Should have started with that, like bitter musicians. Look, and I've played the fucking Metro, so it's not this thing of like, I'm angry because I've never played. Right. They never gave me a chance. Like, I've had my shots and it's been fun. But it just, fuck, man, it's just over and over again. I feel like I'm just like, back in the day. Back in the day.
When you get to an age,
it scares me.
A lot of stories.
No, I mean, yeah. I just that thing of, I start to get a little worried that I'm obvious, like all it is going to be me bitching about like people today don't get it. And then it's going to, and right now it maybe is like kind of funny and charming and harmless, but I start to get scared that is this going to manifest in some other way?
Don't make that your thing. Yeah.
Like one day it's going to be like the zoo people, and that's going to be in because we're going to be doing like animal human hybrid gene splicing. And I'm going to be in my 70s, and that's like the thing that people do. And I'd be like,
back in my day, we were just people.
Yeah, like talking to, my ex-wife's stepdaughter. And I'm like, you can't marry him. He's got shark blood. Do you want to have like yellow babies? You know what I mean?
They're gonna have gills. You sure about this?
Yeah, like I'm scared that's gonna happen to me. I'm gonna be some like Korean vet who's like, you can't marry him. He's from the East.
I think you have to have that. You don't really have that mentality now, though. Like
I feel like there's a good hour of this podcast.
I know it may seem like it, but I think you're way more open-minded and progressive to fall to that, even in your old age. Like there's certainly dudes that like I've seen that are like that, and it's like, yep, that's gonna carry over. Like that's definitely gonna be.
It just bums me out, man, when I see that kind of shit, or people are like, fuck, man. It always keeps coming back to this stupid fucking politics. Like, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Whatever. The point being, the shows were awesome. I love that you're going to be talking about Nonpoint and that Rashid's name is going to come up. I don't know why. I was just on YouTube and I saw it. I was like, let me listen to this song, ready to be kind of like an asshole, like, oh, Nonpoint, this new metal. And I heard it. And I finally thank God that I've reached an age where I, at least if I'm going to be a judgmental asshole, I can at least be honest with myself and say, wow, you're fucking wrong. You are so wrong. Like you were ready to be a dickhead and look down on these guys. And then at least you listened to the song.
Yeah. Done more than some people do.
Yeah. And then you listened and you're like, oh my God, this is great. Like, yes, fine. They're not doing like sweeps and fucking, 2/3 paradiddle fucking flammacues all over the fucking rhythm section. But, not everything is supposed to be that,
Right. For sure. Yeah.
And it was awesome. And it was so fucking catchy and so fun. And it's, I saw the name and I was ready to be like, not ready to be. I was like very derisive in my mind, like, oh my fucking God, look at that fucking song title. Are you kidding me? Here we go.
That's so
And
funny.
then the way they expressed the chorus, how he sang it, and
Elias is awesome.
It's so good, and and it's just putting that pause there, how he expressed the rhythm. It was just terrific, really terrific, and it was just so nice to have that happen.
That surprise, that pleasant surprise.
Just so pleasant, such a pleasant surprise, because I'm so used to like, oh, here comes the fucking drowning pool part, which I'm not going to bullshit anyone. If I am in a certain state, it's like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm drunk.
Right.
I'm with my friends.
Everything's good.
Yeah, this is fun. Yeah. But like, if I'm sober and angry at my loneliness, you gotta like,
you're gonna be on the chopping block.
I'm ready to attack. And I was so ready to be like,
that's so funny.
But it just happened. And it's like, oh, this is delightful. I love this. This is so fun.
Yeah, there's a reason why that band has had the longevity that they've had. And
I can't remember the name of the song. Is it Bullet?
Bullet with a Name. Yeah. Which is like one of the bigger singles from that band.
Yeah.
And
outstanding.
Like, so that's the album we're going to be talking about. It's To the Pain, which
so fun.
It's, I wanted to do their first one, Statement, which that album was like a pretty big album for me, like to hear it. And I love it. I still love it a lot. And they still play a lot of those songs, which is great. And it's always fun to see. But To the Pain, I think, was like one of the album that really put them on the map, I think. Or I noticed more people were like, oh, I know Nonpoint, like from that album. I was like, all right, cool. They're getting somewhere, And but it's crazy. Yeah, they've been consistently releasing albums, and they're all great. Like if you're ever a fan, then
that's like the Seven Dust thing where Seven Dust came in kind of strong, like where they stay busy, like they just keep churning them out, pumping them out,
and they're good dudes too. I think that's what led to a lot of their longevity. They're really super nice guys. Like, and I'm not just saying because I worked for them, but they are legit really great dudes. And then the newer guys like Rashid and and Adam and stuff like that.
Well, it's like and it's funny you should mention that. I feel like that just for any industry, any situation. Going back to my brief diatribe about like law school mentorship, I like told this, my buddy Danny was mentoring some kid and I ran into them in some restaurant in downtown when we could go to restaurants and be in suits. And, Danny introduced me to whatever this kid's name was. This is years ago. And I was like, here's some free advice, don't be an asshole. That's it. And Danny looked, he's like, he is right. That is the most, or something, and it's like that, like those Nonpoint guys. I mean, as even when I was a kid meeting Rashid, just nice guy.
Yeah. Super sweet dude.
Just great guy. And like in every industry, I feel like that's what it is. It's like a little bit of duplicitous charm, but also if you are genuinely nice, that will take you a little further.
I think it carries you just a little bit further.
Yeah.
It helps it. For sure.
It doesn't mean that if you're nice, that doesn't mean you have you lack this intellectual violence to be, a bit of a villain,
right?
Or like advocate for yourself. Like,
well, what's funny is, so like Rob, the drummer, gets a little bit of a bad rap from people where they're like, I don't know, he's like real mean and I'm like, that's weird because like to me, Rob's like the nicest. Like he's like he feels like an older brother that you're just like hanging out with. Like he's so down to earth and like a ton of fun. But then I see why people say that, because when it comes to the actual business aspect of it is when he kind of turns the charm off, but he's a total businessman, which you kind of have to do nowadays for them. It's like if they don't make that extra push, then they're not getting that extra guarantee. They're not getting that, like they have to be like that. Like,
yeah,
otherwise you're going to get walked on and people will take advantage of that. And they've been around long enough that it's happened because they are nice guys. So I'm sure at some point down this road, somebody took advantage of that and Rob was like, fuck that. It's not happening again.
Yeah,
and
time and a place
gives you that bit of a, rigidity to him. But at the end of the day, he's a great fucking dude. If you're not, I guess if you're not have to do business with him and you're not trying to screw him over, he's a great dude. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, when it comes to business, it comes to business. Business is fucking business. And you can, I think having a pre-existing relationship or being a nice person with whoever you're doing business with can be helpful in the same way it can be a detriment. But my whole philosophy with running my practice and the business end of it is I need to make my money. I need to get what I need to get. I don't need to fuck anyone over to get it, though. I don't need to succeed and other people fail, or I don't need so-and-so to end up in the fucking poorhouse. Like, I charge what I need to charge, or I say what I need to say to get the bread, if I have to. That doesn't mean I make these false promises. I think it's how you conduct yourself in that situation. Whatever. Just random fucking business talk. I don't know.
That is life sometimes. Right? Well, you want to start wrapping it up?
Yeah, I feel like it's been over since we started.
It was over when we started, right?
It's over when we started. Is this when I plug things?
Yeah, anything you want to plug?
Our
new sponsor, Lavisher.
Yes. Today's WTF is brought to you in part by Lavisher. Listen now. Heavy music that's both abrasive and inviting. Charmin Ultra 2-ply. Yeah, no, I don't know. Plugging shit? Fuck, man. Hey, I'll plug in my blender when I get home and make a juice. Well, check out Something Is Waiting. We have a record coming out, I don't know when. Eventually. We released a single.
TBA.
It's that was a fun experience. I also play in Lavisher, which is what I refer to as my pretty boy band. Just look it up. Take a listen. There's a video. And there's even music. If for some reason any of you Judases out there need immigration law advice, feel free to reach out to me because that's real. I practice immigration law, and if there's anyone out there who themselves or has a friend or family member, coworker, whatever, and needs a hand or needs to at least get pointed in the right direction, you can reach out to me. I'm happy to help. And I don't know, read more fucking books. For Christ's sake, put the fucking Tom Clancy down. Read fucking Camus. Read Hemingway. I mean, you can read fun stuff like Polinick or fucking Vonnegut, you know, or any of the other authors I've mentioned. Heinlein is a lot of fun. You know, read some fucking Alan Moore. It's a comic book author, primarily, writer. Go to more art museums. Stop following the assholes you follow on Instagram and look up, you know, galleries. That's a lot of fun. Oh, don't fall for the Zionist agenda. Sorry, forgot that one. Oh my God. If Adam's listening, please invite me to Schaumburger so that we can do some grappling. That'd be fun. I haven't done that in a while.
Cruise for some
sniz.
Well, he's married, so he'd have to just help you.
He is.
He seems like he'd be a good wingman.
He's a great wingman. Me and him are just a couple of leather daddies. The last time I saw him was at I was about to say at a Wasted Fortune show. It was at a Baron Air show. Oh my God. Yeah, I think that's all I've got.
Fair enough.
I mean, good. If I could light up.
You can light up when we're done.
I don't bring my cigarettes. I smoked so much yesterday. I don't need to.
You're good for the day.
I'm good for the rest of the week. Just thanks for inviting me, Bill. Yeah, thanks for giving me a shot.
Very much for being my co-host for the day.
Was,
Jason appreciates it.
I'm seeing him next Thursday. It'll be fun.
Tell him how much of a better job you did on the show than he would have.
But
I don't think there was one yawn out of you that was good, or a burp.
No.
A cough into the mic at all.
No, I tried to always
You're good. You're very conscious of these things. Jason is not.
I mean, it's because he's got the brass ring already. I'm trying to take his job, so I'm doing like a couple of more things. If I was young,
gunning for it,
yeah. If I was young and
you
talented,
might get that corner office, man. You keep it up, it's good.
Right? Yeah, I'm gonna get passed over. And then I'm going to show up and just start blasting.
At some point, we'll have a co-host Olympics and battle for who gets the spot.
Hopefully, I'll be
so far.
It's
just you and Jack are the only two. I don't think I've had anybody else.
I feel like
my buddy Nick has done an episode with me.
Is that the Pokemon guy?
Yeah. So it's the three of you guys. Yeah. I don't know if he's still. I can't remember. I don't know. It's a bummer. I don't get to see that guy as much.
Because he's living his life or what?
I don't know. With like COVID and stuff, it kind of makes it hard for us to kind of like get together. And a little worrisome because he does work at a grocery store.
Oh, really?
It makes you a little nervous.
Why don't you just buy some fucking apples?
But yeah, no. I'm trying to think. Plugs. Same shit. Yeah, check out Something Is Waiting. We have that recent single that we did, the surf cover, Popular, with our own little twist on it with the Something Is Waiting flavoring. You know.
Yeah.
It's on Bandcamp now. You can buy the single or buy the album, and it goes to a charity. Unfortunately, neither one of us can remember the name of that charity right now. I'm sorry. But I'll put a link in the description on YouTube if you guys want to check it out.
Yeah, also, check out Wailing Storms.
Yeah, why not?
That band is so fucking good. That band is so fucking good.
Where are they from? Like North Carolina?
North Carolina.
Oh, dude. I gotta yell at my friend Rick and be like, dude, you gotta befriend these guys. They rule.
Does he live
He lives in North Carolina now.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a great band. Fuck
it's
yeah.
so good. If you don't, if I mentioned any others, they wouldn't be local. I'd just be like, go listen to the Velvet Underground, because I never did, and I finally started to, thanks to the Sound Opinions podcast, another great podcast. And like, I'm like, oh, fuck, this is great. This is amazing.
Like, I get it.
Where the fuck have I been?
Right.
Been listening to the same fucking Lamb of God record for 20 years like an
That's
asshole.
All you need. That's all you need. Keep that perspective nice and narrow.
Nice and narrow.
Don't at all.
Do not grow.
Yeah.
Don't solicit opinions.
Yeah.
Don't listen. Wait for them to stop talking, and then you start talking. Or better yet, interrupt them.
Even better. Yeah.
Make sure you point a lot. Put your finger in their chest. Stand up very close to them so that your hot breath hammers their face.
Be very aggressive.
Be very aggressive with both your words and your gesticulations. Be demonstrative.
Talk as if you're talking in all caption.
Yes.
All uppercase.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you, everybody that checked out the live stream and chimed in. It was awesome. Thank you. Give us something to talk about.
Gotta get out of here.
And we'll see you guys next week for New Metal 06, maybe give her 7, 5. I don't know. But yeah, New Metal with Eddie Gobo and Jason will be back. So bye, everybody out in the streaming world. Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Love you.
Okay. So just now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'll do a countdown. 5, 4, 3. I just want to once again thank Bill for having me on Nothing's for No One. If you don't know, it's a lifestyle podcast. It's available on Apple, Spotify. They are on YouTube as well. If you haven't subscribed, you should to all of those platforms. Like the pages on Facebook and Instagram. As I said, lifestyle, so it's not just music. It's about the daily lives of people who have a musical inclination. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. 5 stars, comment, tell your friends, and, well, that's all there is to it, isn't there?